All right, welcome everybody to the rare and mythic portion of our Lorwyn set review. So we did the commons and uncommons the other day on Tuesday. Today is Thursday, and the in-between day, Wednesday, we actually got to play with the cards. Mark and I both played some early access drafts. So in addition to just talking about all the rares and mythics, we also have some updated thoughts on the format that we want to bring to you before we get into it. Mark, how's it going? How was your early access?
Early access was great. I will both thank you for having me and thank Wizards for providing me the advanced chance to play with some of the cards
Yeah,
and
yeah.
get to play with. It's always a little bit hit and miss with early access because there's a really wide range. Like there's PT players, there's grizzled streamers, there's like people who are just making content for the lols. So pretty big spread of players in an unranked queue. But it does give you, I think, like a pretty good general sense of what's going on.
Yeah.
And I had a few takeaways. I guess I'll do it like the good, the bad, and the ugly kind of thing.
Great.
So the good news is that all of the five decks, starting with the five main tribes or types, they all seemed pretty well supported. So
Yes, agreed.
elementals, goblins, kithkin, merfolk, and elves,
Yep.
all of those seemed pretty strong, and I saw like really good versions of all of them. And on top of that, I also both saw and drafted a lot of non one of those five.
Oh, cool. I did not do that, and I didn't see a lot of that. So, would love to hear about that.
Yeah, so I managed to get. I said I wouldn't have much time, and then of course I managed to jam a bunch of drafts anyways. I got six drafts in between last night and this morning, and two of those were like one was red white, where I got the red white mythic that we're going to review today, and got 5 wins with that. And one of them was blue black, which was fairy based, and I also had the blue black mythic that we'll review today.
Nice.
And got to the 5 wins. Like I stopped after 5 wins, so I got 5 wins with both of those. And then I saw Sam P. I caught a little bit of his stream. He was drafting mono white at one point to kind of support my mono colored being
Cool.
viable strategy. So I do think there's going to be a huge range of depth to the draft, and if you really like keep your mind open, you can probably do a lot more than just one of those five prescribed types.
Yeah, my experience. I said I didn't do too much of that other stuff, but I guess I kind of did because the decks, the main decks that I got around to drafting were elemental decks that bled into the vivid multicolor decks, right? And I kind of see those as one and the same. A lot of the multicolor payoffs, the vivid payoffs are elementals, so the elemental cards help you cast those cards. You've got like Smoke Braider, the mana dork that makes a bunch of mana, different colors of mana. And that stuff was really good. Like, I was really impressed. I had some strong cards. Obviously that plays a part. But the getting to 4 and 5 for your vivid counts was, like, surprisingly easy. You have to do a little bit of work in the deck build, but, like, there are the hybrid cards, obviously. A lot of the token makers make tokens that are 2 colors. There are cards like Puka's Eye, which is the artifact that I actually played and was pretty solid. That it comes in, call a color, and you've got all 5 colors. You can draw a card each turn. So yeah, I was impressed. I also was impressed from my opponents with the Goblin decks, and I think you were too. That was one of the big questions we had in the common uncommon set review. Where we're like, well, if this Goblin stuff actually works, these cards look good, and if it doesn't, the synergies don't work, then they look really, really bad. And I think we're both happy to say that, yeah, early reports seem to show that goblins are alive and well, but then they'll die because that's what the people do. They just throw the goblins at your opponents.
Yeah, that's the good, and that's kind of tied in with the bad because to me, the bad news is what we're going to get to today, which is that there are a lot of really strong rares.
Yep.
So I very much think this is going to be what people call a Prince format, where your rares matter a lot. I was seeing a lot of games where the play pattern was like, okay, they played their first rare and I dealt with that, and they played their second rare and that kind of brought them to parity, and then they played their third maybe and or fourth rare and like couldn't recover after that point.
Right.
So the good news from that is like the rares do let you draft different decks, like they're pulls to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't have strong rares, you're just going to do the best things supported at common every time.
Of course.
So that provides a nice depth, but you will need to be really careful with your removal. And I almost think there's like two categories of decks you can draft, where one is the hyper focused tribal synergies versions. I don't know. I keep calling them tribal. It's old habits die
Yeah,
hard.
yeah, yeah. All good.
Yeah. So when you can get that thing going, that deck can be full of commons and uncommons and still run people over. But
Yes.
if you don't get the super synergistic deck, I think you want to have not just like 4 removal spells, but maybe like 6 to 8, because you need to have answers for a lot of different things.
Yep, absolutely. I fully agree. One of the things that is a trend for me in early access is that I tend to underdraft the removal spells, trying out the new synergies. I've gotten better at that as things have gone on, but even still, getting to 5, 6 removal spells in my decks, I really felt like, hey, I might want one more over the course of the game. So yeah, back up, co-sign that take. Just quickly, I know you also said something about this in the Discord, or just float around this. I felt that the draft portion was really interesting. Like there was tons of like interesting decisions. All like when you open a pack, and we talked about how maybe the commons seemed a little bit less exciting, or maybe a huge gap in power level. They're commons, of course, but I didn't feel like, wow, there's junk in these packs. I really felt like every pick of the draft, I was making meaningful decisions. The gameplay, like you said, I thought that was a little bit more hit or miss. Small sample size. Don't take this as like us being like, wow, the gameplay is going to suck in this format. But there were a lot of games that were just like, yep, that rare was really, really good. We'll have to see, though.
Yeah, I had, so I mean, just to kind of back that up, I had, so out of the 6 drafts, 3 of them got to 5 wins. 2 of them were those like off supported ones.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was a green black deck that you'd think would be elves, but I literally had cards in the deck that rewarded me for giants, vivid, goblins, Kithkin, and elves, and I might even be missing one because I had like a number of changelings that kind of supported multiple different themes, and there was like a couple rares that I was like, well, I don't need tons as long as I can hit 1 or 2. So you really need to be paying close attention to what your deck can support during the draft, and that for sure makes it interesting.
Yeah, lots of little things to balance, and yeah, exactly. That's what makes an interesting draft format for me. So I think we'll just jump in. As we did last time, we've pre-graded the cards. Mark and I both have our tier lists. Those will be posted. You could, if you actually saw the common and uncommon video, you could actually look at our grade for the rares there. But we'll, of course, repost them in the comment section, or sorry, the description video as part of this video. And I think that's pretty much it. Anything you want to add there before we jump in?
Uh, I usually say no, but I know this has been a long segment, but I will mention
Yeah.
that for the common and uncommon sections, I do like an untouched pre-touching the set gradings that
Yep.
was probably posted there. I have since made like a second separate tier list, which is I'm assuming the one you're going to link now, and that already has some updates from me. So I do like to update tier lists quite regularly early on. So some of our grades that we're going to explain today, I saw you made a couple changes as well.
Yep.
Those might be different than what you would have seen on Tuesday if you checked this out when it first went live.
Yes, and I don't think I've actually called this out on the review before, but I definitely should. Mark is the one who, for the past few sets, has actually been handling the limited level ups tier list. So thank you so much to Mark for doing that. And he does curate it and keep it up to date. So if you want to follow along with that, that'll be there for you. Without further ado, shall we jump in?
Let's dive in, yeah.
So we're just going to go Wooburg order, gold cards at the end today, and we're starting with Adept Water Shaper. This is 2 and a white for a 3/4 rare merfolk. Says other tapped creatures you control have indestructible. A simple but pretty powerful line of text.
It's also just big, right? Like
Big, yeah.
3 mana, 3/4.
Yeah, what are they doing? White's bigger than its mana cost? Like, this is a green thing, or at least it was, 10 years ago.
Yeah, so this is mostly going to help you on offense, but it can help you. Like there's a decent amount of convoke or ways to tap down your merfolk at instant speed.
Mm-hmm.
So you could potentially block with other things and make them indestructible as well. The risk is like I had an opponent play this against me and then rely on it, and then I killed it in combat. And I
Yeah,
give it like -4/-4,
gotta
and
be careful.
so you got to be a little bit careful. So you're a little bit higher than me on this, as long as I have the sides correct. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I just want to make sure I have that correct. So I've given this a C, a B. You're on a B plus.
Yeah, yeah, and it's also just wanted to make a quick thought on Merfolk. You mentioned on Tuesday that you thought Merfolk was a bit slower, a bit more plotting, a bit more value generation. I was maybe thinking a little more aggressive, but I think you're right after playing things, seeing things play out. Merfolk's a very like, sure, you might run over them sometimes, but it really feels like once they get their engines going, kind of hard to stop them. Next up, we've got, a banger, a Johnny Outland Chaperone. This is 1 white for a 3 loyalty Planeswalker. At Mythic, of course.
Do you want to do rares and then mythics?
I think we just get all the rares and mythics in together, no?
Sure. I kind of like doing the rares because you see them more often, and then doing the mythics at the end. But either way is fine.
We always do that. We always do it this way. I don't know if you wanted to change it. We do that
that's fine.
next time. Yeah. Anyways, okay. Well, I'll do this again. Next up is a Johnny Outland Chaperone, which is 1 white for a 3 loyalty Planeswalker. 3 abilities here. +1, make a 1/1 green and white Kithkin token. -2, a Johnny deals 4 damage to target tapped creature. -8, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your life total. You may put any number of non-land permanent cards, mana value 3 or less from them, onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Yeah, this card is great. It's kind of a return to form of old school Planeswalkers, where it's like uptick, make a thing, downtick removal, negative, maybe not exactly win the game, but like really, really good.
But those Planeswalkers used to cost 4 and 5 mana.
Right. So yeah, this is a 3 mana one. And on the play, I was gonna say on the play, this is very close to unbeatable if you don't have a removal spell, but like even on the draw, like they attack you with their 2, you come down, kill their 2. Yeah, this card is very strong.
We both gave it an A.
Yep, pretty simple. Next up is Brigid Cacklin's Heart, which is 2 white for a 3/2 legendary Kithkin. It says whenever this creature enters or transforms into the backside, it's got a backside, you make a 1/1 green and white Kithkin token. The beginning of your first main phase, you may pay green. If you do transform Brigid, she transforms into a 3/2 that says tap, add X green or X white, where X is the number of other creatures you control. And at the beginning of your first main phase, you can pay white to flip her back to her friend's side and make another token.
Just a minor correction. I really appreciate you reading all these out, but anytime I pick up a little, something, I just wanted to point out.
Oh, please. Yeah, I've been making mistakes this review this time around, so please point it out. Yeah.
Okay, you just said when it enters or flips into the backside, and it's actually when it flips into the front side again.
Yes, you only make, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 3 mana, 3/2, and a token. That's already pretty darn good. We like that.
Yeah, also, interestingly, so the play pattern is you play this on turn 3. Turn 4, your first main phase, you pay, you flip it, you get tons of mana. Turn 5, if you're still on tapping with it, because it's a first main phase trigger, you can actually add the mana and still get the 1/1 token.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is sweet. And just like, This card is super explosive. Like, forget about just being a good rate. 4/3 worth of power and toughness across 2 bodies. You can just dump your hand real quick with this.
And I think it's also just fine if you're not able to flip it.
Yeah.
Just a 3 mana, 3/2 + 1/1 is still going to be pretty darn good.
Yep. And this is part of a cycle, by the way, where, it kind of does this. You can flip it for a different color, flips to a backside. And, some of these are more playable than others on just a single color. But like you just said, this one is definitely like pretty good if you're just like a blue-white deck. So, grade for Brigid.
Yeah. Both gave her a B+.
Yep, B+. Champion of the Clackland. This is Klacken. That's probably it. 3 white for a 4/5 flash Kithkin. As an initial cost to cast this spell, behold a Kithkin. So once again, that is reveal 1 from your hand or point to 1 on your battlefield and exile it. Other Kithkin you control get +1/+1. When this creature leaves the battlefield, return the exiled card to its owner's hand. So you're temporarily 2-for-1ing yourself for a card that is quite above rate, right? Very big, Lord effect, flash, relevant not just to eat something in combat, as as a blocker, but pumping your Kithkin at instant speed, also very powerful.
Right, because normally these to behold and exile something is going to be a downside, but this one having flash means you can potentially use it as a protection
Oh
spell.
yeah.
Notably, with all of these, so with the rares that do require them to exile, you really don't want them to get countered
Mm-hmm. It's a cost,
because
yeah,
then you
additional
really do
cost.
get 2 for 1.
Right.
But this card, yeah, if you can just imagine a board of Kithkin where you're able to attack with your whatever 3 creatures that are Kithkin, and they line up one really good block and 2 like slightly good blocks, and then you exile the really good blocked one and win both the other combats. There's so many areas where this can just be absolutely insane as a blowout.
Yeah, and there is something to be said about sometimes you literally cannot cast it, but as we've been doing for this set and the set review, I think we've been treating these cards like, okay, you're gonna have the deck for it, right? Like, we're assuming you're not drafting this on like 4 Kithkins or something like that, right? You're gonna have a good number of Kithkins. So with that in mind, what do we give it?
Yeah, I gave it an A. You gave it an A minus.
Yeah, also just kind of cute one to point out that this is a reference to an older mechanic called Champion, which basically like did this, and they're all, this cycle is all Champion of the whatever. So cool little callback there. Curious Colossus up next. This is 5 white for a 7/7 giant at Mythic. When it enters, each creature target opponent controls loses all abilities, becomes a coward in addition to its types, and has base power and toughness 1/1. Okay, so like pseudo, sort of, not exactly a field wipe, but sometimes does actually kill your opponent's creature because they'll have -1/-1 counters on it, right? So that's kind of an interesting wrinkle. It's expensive though. Are we going to want to play this in a Kithkin deck? Let's say. Let's just kind of stress test it first of all.
Almost certainly not, in my opinion.
Okay, I agree.
7 is a lot of mana.
7 is a lot, but Merfolk, I think, very happy to play it. A black-white slower deck, I think, pretty happy to play it. You actually had a red-white deck, like you said yesterday. Would you have played it? Like, was it an actual aggro red-white deck, or was it kind of like slower, grindy?
I don't know.
Okay.
It was kind of in between. Like the curve was weird, but I had a lot of powerful spells, and I probably would have tried playing this, but not even sure it would have been great. Like I actually had one of the green 7 drops in one of my drafts. That's like a ridiculous card, but there was at least 2 games that I just couldn't cast it before I either died or had to do other things. So
right.
You are under the cosh real quick in this format with some of the explosive synergy starts.
Yeah, agree with that. So
we both gave this a minus, which is still a very respectable grade, but just keeping in mind that it does cost 7.
Yes, exactly. We've got Irdu, Carrier of Dawn, up next. This is 3 white for a legendary 5/5 flying lifelink. This one's a mythic. It says creature spells you cast have Convoke, and at the beginning of your first main phase, you may pay black if you do transform it. The backside is a 5/5 flying lifelink. Other non-token creatures you control have Persist, which old mechanic, just as I think only on this card. Oh, sorry, this and a few others. But when it dies, if it has no -1/-1 counters on it, return that creature to the battlefield under its owner's control with a negative counter on it. So it gives all your creatures kind of like a second go, but they're a little bit smaller. And, of course, you can pay 1 on your first main phase, beginning, white that is, transforms back to the front side. So, gigantic flying lifelink creature, gives your creatures Convoke. I'd say a minor benefit. And, backside's pretty good if it sticks around too, but I think really we're just like, thinking about that front side.
Yeah, I've made up kind of a new rule where any card that looks insane but is like 4+ mana with no ETB, no protection, caps out at a B+.
Yeah.
So there's a few of those in this set, and this is one that you and I both gave a B+ to.
Yep, exactly. Like, busted when it sticks, but sometimes it gets gotten by a 2/3 mana removal spell, and that is very bad. Next up, we've got Kin Binding. 3 white for an enchantment at rare. Creatures you control get +X/+X, where X is the number of creatures that enter the battlefield under your control this turn. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 green and white Kithkin creature token. So, of course, at the very least, your creatures are going to get +1/+1 each combat on your turn. And pumps out tokens. Yeah, I mean, seems like a good card to me.
It's a little not great on defense, but it kills so quickly that I think we might still both be underrating how. Like I lost to this card at least twice
Oh,
already,
yeah? Okay.
and it just feels so depressing when it comes down because everything is huge. You can't race anymore. You can't stall out because they just keep getting creatures every turn. So we both gave it A-, but I think it might even be better than that.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, just even hearing you talk about that, it reminds me of, like, no particular card, but the kind of rare that's just like, I'm not beating that unless I'm already well set up to finish this game, right? Like, you have to have gone through 2, 3, 4, they play this, and you're like, all right, we still have a game on our hands, but I at least have a pretty good board. So yeah, I might even just bump it up right here and now, but yeah, great card. Kinscar Sentry is 1 and a white for a 2/2 Kithkin at rare. First strike lifelink. When this creature attacks, you may put a creature card with mana value X or less from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking, where X is the number of attacking creatures you control. Okay, I mean, 2 mana, 2/2 lifelink, first strike Kithkin, pretty good on its own. How much do you like that last ability, though? Or like, I should say, how much do you think it factors into the evaluation?
Minorly. It's hard to say. This one I actually, with very low confidence, moved down out of the A range this morning, just
Mm-hmm.
like having played against a few Kithkin decks. So I know some people had different experiences. I was beating most of the white decks that didn't play kin binding over the last 24 hours. And part of it was just that, like, it's hard for them to have consistently good attacks without the tricks, right? Because we talked about this on Tuesday. There's not a ton of good tricks.
Yeah.
So it does feel like creatures do get outsized
Mm-hmm.
relatively quickly. And you need to be able to have attacks with this for it to do anything.
Right. Yeah, that was kind of my thought as well. So, I wouldn't quite call it like trinket text or flavor text or anything, but it reads a lot more exciting than I think it actually plays out, right?
Still really good. You
Yeah.
have it at A-, which could well be correct. I bumped it down a tiny bit to a B+.
Next up, we've got an interesting card here, Morningtide's Lights, which is 3 and a white for a sorcery at Mythic. Exile any number of target creatures. At the beginning of the end step, return those creatures to the battlefield tapped under their owner's control. Until your next turn, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you, and then you exile Morningtide's Light. So, kind of similar to some cards we've seen in the past, where it's like mass blink some things, but pretty interesting layer here that, one, you can blink your opponent's stuff, and also preventing damage to you. That really makes up for a lot of the problems with those kind of cards.
I really like this card.
It's flexible, so why don't you regale us with some modes of this card, Mark? What can you do with it?
Well, okay, so mode 1 is just like falter, right? Remove all their blockers and attack for lethal.
Yeah.
Mode 2 is blink a bunch of your stuff and get a bunch of value with ETB things, and then even though your creatures all return tapped, they can't attack you because they don't deal you any damage next turn. So you untap and you kind of prolong the game. Mode 3, so I had this card cast against me. I had both a Noggle the Mind and a Blossom Bind on my opponent's creatures. And they use this as, yeah, I'll reset my rares and untap them and remove the enchantments from them, and you can't damage me. And now this card is effectively like a 3-for-1. It was absolutely crazy. It kills tokens. It does so many things. I really like this card.
Yeah. I think I graded it slightly lower than you. I like a lot of this what this card does too. I'm slightly apprehensive about it because this is the kind of card that can just kind of get stuck in your hand for a little bit, right? Like, you gotta ding it if it's a card that's not just like, yep, I draw it, I cast it, it's good. That said, still like it. What do we give it?
You give it a C+, I give it a B-.
Yeah, nice. Reese the Evermore is 1 and a white for a 2/2 legendary elf at rare. A white elf, kind of interesting. Has flash and says when Reese enters, another target creature you control gains persist until end of turn, which again means when it dies, if it had no negative counters on it, it comes back with a negative counter. and has the ability 1 tap, remove any number of counters from target creature you control, activate that only as a sorcery. So, sort of acts like a pseudo protection creature in some ways, right? They kill your creature, you go, okay, I bring it back, and it's kind of funny. Like, yes, it is good to remove the counters from the thing you bring back, right? Because you're like, okay, I can keep doing. Oh, sorry, no, I mean, you're not going to persist a bunch of times, but it is kind of funny that sometimes you're like, I don't want to remove it with Rees. I want to use my abilities with my creatures that have -1 counters on them.
But you can combo it with like the changeling that returns your creature to hand.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah. The flock, right? The flock
Does that
impersonator.
work? Hold on. You do it. You flicker it. It comes back. No, then you won't be able to remove the counter unless. Yeah. So it does not repeated loop. I guess it would only work a couple
Yeah, it's
times.
like a little value basically.
But it's also so persist is less reliable than usual. Like there was a lot of boards with random -1/-1 counters on things. And then also it doesn't protect from the -4/-4 blight rot or whatever it is.
Right.
So like don't try to do that in response because the creature will die with counters and will not persist. So it's almost like two separate abilities, but they both add up to a pretty nice package. And even though it's a bit situational, I think Riss is going to be pretty strong. We both gave it a C+.
Yeah. Solid card. Slumbering Walker up next. 3 white for a 4/7 giant at rare. When it enters, it enters with 2 -1/-1 counters on it, and at the beginning of your end step, you can remove a counter. When you do, return target creature card with power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. I faced this card yesterday. It was really annoying. It comes down and is a 6 toughness creature right away, reanimates something right away. My opponent wasn't really using it to the max, I think. Like, they were bringing back the 1/1 in black, 1 mana 1/1 that when it dies, you put a negative counter on something. And, I mean, not this, they weren't doing anything wrong with it, but, like, that was the, like, not anything special, and I was pretty annoyed by that. So I can imagine bringing back, like, a 3 mana creature with this, because it's 2 power, not 2 mana, repeatedly. Like, that's really good. So, yeah, I'm a fan of this card.
Even that's a loop, right? You can keep chump blocking with the 1/1 and put the counter back on the walker.
And that's what they were doing. Yeah, I should have mentioned that, but
Yeah.
that is what they were doing. Annoying. I was very annoyed.
Yeah, we talked about can -1/-1 counters be considered an upside?
Mm-hmm.
I definitely felt some spots where shrinking my board felt pretty bad. I will say it felt neutral a little more than I expected. So there was a bunch of spots where I didn't really mind having to blight 1. Blight 2 felt really painful because
Yes.
a lot of creatures that you wanted to put the counter on often had 2 toughness.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some games where like my opponents were using Blight as a legitimate upside and putting it on stuff like this and kind of popping off.
Yeah.
So there's a big range of how good you can make these effects, which again should make the drafts a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So, great.
Grade. So I give this an A. You gave it an A-. Fantastic card.
Yep, very good. Winnowing is 4 white for a sorcery at rare. It has Convoke and says for each player, you choose a creature that player controls. Then each player sacrifices all other creatures they control that don't share a creature type with the chosen creature they control. So that's a word salad, but basically it punishes your opponent if they're not playing all the creature, all the same creature type, right? That's kind of the idea. Unfortunately for you, the caster, your opponent in this set is very often going to have a lot of their cards are the same creature type, and I don't think this card is very good.
Yes, is this like there's the -2/-2 to everything, but is this the only Wrath in the set? Like kind of.
There's the red one at Mythic that deals damage to
Yes.
yeah.
Right, to opponents' creatures. Okay,
Right.
but yeah, so I 100% echo what you said. I had this cast against me yesterday where my opponent had 4 creatures and ended up losing one of theirs. My side of the board was 3 fairies and a changeling, and they targeted the changeling, and then they reread the card, and they
Uh-oh.
scooped.
Yeah. I literally can never kill changelings, right? So,
Yeah, they
um,
0 for 2'd themselves for 6 mana, so it was not great.
I almost like I don't know if I gave it this grade, I can't remember, but like I could see this being a sideboard card if you happen to face an opponent who has like a weird spread of all different creature types, but like I just don't think that's gonna happen very often. So
Even then, like, it's almost never gonna kill. Like maybe you get 2 things,
mm-hmm.
and situationally getting 2 things for 6 mana, even with Convoke, it's not worth a spot. So
Yep.
this is probably an F. I gave it a D minus. You gave it a D, but I wouldn't be surprised if this was just an F.
Yeah. Sam P in chat saying you got 4 for 1 from it, and it's gonna happen sometimes. But
Yeah, just it relies on so many things to go right, but the vision is there.
next up, blue cards. Champion of the Shoal, first one, 3 and a blue for a 4/6 Merfolk at rare. As an additional cost to cast it, you behold a Merfolk and exile it. When this creature enters or becomes tapped, tap up to 1 target creature and put a stun counter on it. And it's got the text of when this leaves, you return the exiled card to its owner's hand. So really big for 4 mana, immediate impact, also snowbally, right? Can just keep tapping things down.
Yeah, I mean, I said you couldn't beat down with Merfolk. This card would definitely let you beat down.
Yeah. Also, interesting interaction that somebody pointed out to me in the YouTube comments. Stun counters are kind of awkward, actually, in this set, because the cards that say you can remove a counter, like, it doesn't just say remove a -1/-1 counter to do an effect. It actually just says remove a counter. So be careful about that. You don't want to be putting this on one of your opponent's cards that does that. But
even still, then, like that would be more for the instant that tapped, because this thing, they're not, almost all those things activate as a sorcery.
that's true. That is very true. So it actually won't come up very much. Yeah, it would have to be an instant speed thing to tap. Yeah.
Right. By the time they untap, the stun counter won't be there anymore.
Yeah. In any case, this card's great. What do we give it?
This card's great. Both gave it an A.
Next up is Disruptor of Currents. I played with and against this card quite a bit yesterday. 3 blue for a Merfolk 3/3 rare. Has Flash and Convoke, and when it enters, return up to 1 other target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. So, yesterday we gave the 3 mana blue elemental that bounces something an A, right? Or it was like A minus in the A range. Those cards are really, really good. This card, I think even better. Like, it can be free. That list stops there. It can be free. Let's just start there. But yeah, this card's fantastic.
It's almost literally Invasion Submersible with Flash.
Yeah, yeah, basically. I got a lot of opponents real good with this one yesterday. Found like they attack with a 4/4 and a 2/2. I bounced the 4/4 to 2/2. I also got gotten quite a bit by it. So
yep, both gave it an A. Card's fantastic.
Flitterwing Nuisance is a 1 mana 2/2 fairy at rare. Has flying and enters with a -1 counter. Has the ability 2 and a blue, remove a counter from this creature. And whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker this turn, draw a card. And that counts every individual creature. It's not like if a creature dealt damage. So 1 mana 1/1 flyer effectively on turn 1. That on turn, I don't know, let's say 5, 6 maybe a little bit later, you draw a few cards. Yeah.
Like even on turn 3, +1/+1, like, exhaust, put a counter on this, draw a card.
Yeah, that's good.
It's fine.
That's totally fine.
This card is, I'm sad to inform you, I think your B+ grade is too low, and I think this is ananother A level card. Like, this card is so good.
Yeah, I mean, I have no argument. I'm not gonna fight against it. Card is really strong.
I give this an A-, and I could see this also being an A. Like, it was just, there was so many spots. I had this in a draft. I had it played against me. It drew 1 card in a game, 3 cards in a game, 4 cards in a game.
Nice. That sounds impressive. Also, yeah, you can, of course, do the thing where you just like put another counter on this thing, do it all again. Yeah, I mean, I'll defer to you. Like I said, no arguments. Card seems great.
So you can even, like, this can even be a surprise. You can play it and remove it right away. So like this doesn't need to hit.
Sure. Yeah, totally. Just play it as a kind of like a 4-mana spell on the later sort of the game.
4 mana 2/2 flyer that like makes all your creatures into Ophidians for a turn. That's
That sounds great.
so
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Okay. Yeah. No, I think you're probably right on that. We've got Glenelendra Guardian up next. This is 2 and a blue for a 3/4 fairy rare. Flash and flying. Enters with a negative counter on it. 1 and a blue, remove a counter from this creature. Counter target non-creature spell. Its controller draws a card. Okay.
yeah, it's
Solid.
really nice. Like,
Yeah.
You will want to do that ability most of the time because whatever they draw is likely going to be worse than what they're trying to impact the board with.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, unless they're playing like a rampant growth type effect that you don't care about, don't worry about giving them the card here. You get a 3/4 flyer out of it once you use it. You get a 2/3 flyer flash before you do. Great card. I gave this a B plus. You gave it a B.
Yep. Sweet. Glenelendra's Answer. I love this card. This is 2 blue for an instant at Mythic. It can't be countered, and says counter all spells your opponents control, and all abilities your opponents control. Create a 1/1 blue and black fairy creature token with flying for each spell and ability countered this way. Yeah, so I mean, you can kind of think of this as like a 1/1 flash flyer that counters a spell when it comes in at the baseline, right? And that counter the abilities text. I mean, sometimes you're going to counter an ability just straight up, but I think what's pretty, not uncommonly going to happen is your opponent casts a spell that says that, and they've got something on the battlefield that says when you cast a spell, like cast a elf, do a thing, or the elemental theme of when you cast a spell mana value 4 or greater, you get to do a thing, and you're going to get 2 fairies off this. Yeah, like I said, not that inconsistently.
Yeah, 100%. I was going to say the exact same things. I gave this a B. You gave it a B plus.
Sweet. Yep. Cool card. Harmonized Crescendo is up next. 4 blue for an instant. It's a rare. It has Convoke. And it says choose a creature type. Draw a card for each permanent you control of that type. So I graded this one a little bit higher than you, if I remember. I'm not sure if you moved it around, but I do like this card. Just let's do grades first, actually, and then we'll get into conversation.
Yeah, I didn't move it yet. I also haven't seen it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So currently you have this at B minus. I have it at C minus.
Yeah, so I think Merfolk's game plan is pretty straightforward. Like I was saying, you just gum up the board, cast some things and make tokens, find some value somehow, and just going like play a 2, play a 3, maybe play a token maker. At that point, you've got a draw 3 that you can tap your creatures for, so it's like maybe 3 mana, actual mana, and it just scales from there. I mean, obviously, it doesn't affect the board, whatever. It's a very good draw spell. It's nothing more than that, but it draws a lot of cards and can, you're not paying real mana a lot of the time. Like, you can, if you're in control of the board, you can even go, like, tap on my stuff, leave my mana up, draw 5 cards or whatever, play a bunch of stuff that turn with my mana. I don't know. I just feel like this card is, just fits so nicely into what that deck wants to do.
Yeah, see, my grade is basically that I think this is slightly worse than the common.
The draw 3 discard one?
Yeah, for 5 mana.
Yeah. I can see that argument. I can see that being right. I just think, like, you're gonna draw a lot of cards off this, like, pretty often, I think. I'm just envisioning it,
I there's a lot bigger best case and worst case for this compared to the common.
Sure.
And the fact that it's not strictly more best case for an extra mana, it just has me a little dubious. But
yeah.
for sure, I could be totally wrong. So yeah, we've currently got this at a 3 grade difference. So
yeah,
C minus to B minus.
Yeah, we'll see. Lockmare up next. This is 1 and a blue for a mythic horse, not a real creature type. So 1 and a blue for a 4/5 that enters with 3 -1 counters on it. 2 abilities here. 1 and a blue, remove a counter from this creature, draw a card. 2 and a blue, remove 2 counters from this card, tap target creature, put a stun counter on it. Yeah.
So we're 2 grades off for this, and the reason for that is because I gave this a straight A plus.
Okay, and I gave it an A minus, right? Is that
Yeah,
true? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
I
that's
could
that.
be
That
wrong.
would
Like,
have to be logically, but yes.
well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. No, I get it the S minus, the S, just the regular S.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Card's busted. I think I probably have underrated at A minus. Card's very good. Maybe not much to say. Is there anything tricksy, interesting to say about it?
It just seems like whenever you play this, it's gonna be excellent.
Yeah.
Like you play this on turn 4, and it's a 2 mana 2/3 draw card ATB that can do so twice more. That sounds insane.
Sounds great.
You play this on turn 5, it's a 2 mana 2/3 that locks down a creature that can then draw 2 cards. Like it can race, it can provide value. You can put more counters on it. I just think it does everything.
Yeah, and worth noting that this has been true for, I think, all of the rares that take counters off themselves to give abilities. This is instant speed. Like, you can tap down instant speed.
Yeah.
You can draw a card instant speed. Yeah, great stuff. Amazing card. And we've been saying that for the past, like, 45 minutes. So, let's see if that'll continue. Okay, we might not continue with this one. Mirror Form is 4 blue for an instant at Mythic. Each non-land permanent you control becomes a copy of target non-aura permanent. Another one we had a grading difference on. What grades did we give this? Just start there.
Yeah, so this, I remember I didn't move this after I reread it, so I'm probably too low on it.
Okay.
I didn't initially catch that it's not until end of turn.
Right. Weird,
It does
right?
make things, yeah, permanently something. So I had given it an F. I would probably give it like a D plus, maybe.
You think? Yeah? Okay.
It's just it seems. I don't know. Like
It's a
if you
weird
have the
card.
best thing already, I have no idea for this. It's a really weird card.
Yeah,
You don't have to target one of your things either, which is really nice.
yeah, there's no, like, little less risk involved. You target your opponent stuff. Yeah, I'm not claiming this for it to be awesome. There's, like, so much setup here, right? Like, the effects can be excellent. There's a huge ceiling here, but a lot of setup. It's 6 mana. I guess I'm seeing a lot of these cards in the context of Merfolk, right? You've just got a lot of little things. You target the best thing. Maybe it's even just a 2/2 flyer, right? And turning, like, all your 1/1 tokens into 2/2 flyers, like, that seems okay to me. Yeah, this is a case of ceiling versus floor, really. Where it averages out to is gonna be, it's gonna be interesting to see. But yeah, just one more time, because we talked a little bit about grades for this one. Maybe a revised
Yeah, I never
grade from
gave your
you.
grade either. So I've currently got it as an F, which I'll be moving, but I just didn't know where else to put it.
Yeah.
You've got it at a C minus.
Yeah, C minus, and that's an unsure one. That's the coward C minus. Next up, we've got, he's back. Oko Lorwyn Liege is a 2 and a blue planeswalker, 3 loyalty, has the static ability at the beginning of your first main phase. You can pay green if you do transform Oko. +2, up to 1 target creature gains all creature types. This effect doesn't end. They're actually kind of like alchemizing paper magic a little bit with some of the cards in this set. Like the last card, this one, there's a lot of like, this just stays like this permanently. Anyways, +1, target creature you control, target creature gets -2, -0 until the end of your next turn. The backside is has got the static ability of, at the beginning of your main phase, you can pay blue, flip it back to the front side. 3 abilities here. -1, mill 3 cards. You can put a permanent card from among those into your hand. -3, create 2 3/3 green elk tokens. -6, choose a creature type. You get an emblem with creatures you control of the chosen type. Get +3/+3 and have vigilance and hexproof. Lots going on here. Lots going on. Lots of words on Oko here. Thankfully, not as many busted words, I think, or numbers as the last time we saw Oko. But or I guess the second time, last time, we don't even remember the last time, but Oko here is a solid planeswalker, I would say.
Well, I'm 3 grades higher than you for this.
Okay, maybe it's better than I think then.
I was 2 grades higher, and then I bumped it up after getting a chance to play with it today.
Mm-hmm.
It like, so I was already pretty high on it just because 3 mana +1 to protect itself is often going to be enough to make sure that you have at least 3 counters on this thing. Like if you untap with 4 counters on it, it just wins the game on turn 4.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's hell of a selling point.
Yeah, I had a game just end where I was on the play. They played a 2/2 for 2. I untapped, played my third land. The first spell I cast was Oko, -2'd. Then they played their 3-drop. I just untapped, paid a green mana, -3'd. I had 2/3/3s, and I was still able to play another 3-drop that turn. And they just scooped. Like the game was over.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, seems
Two
pretty
three
typical.
threes is crazy.
It's also kind of wild that, like, both of the planeswalkers here are kind of, like, win the game if you cast it on turn 3. Like, they're both 3-mana planeswalkers, right? Like, that's pretty brutal.
Yes. Yeah, so you have this at a C+. I'm at a B+. And yeah, I think this card's crazy good.
Yeah, I almost think, like, I thought it was higher than that. I thought I had it, like, in the B and you had it in the A range. I must have just, like, misgraded this card or something. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I'll join you. That's where I would have put it if you asked me today. All right, next up, we've got Rimefire Torque. Thank God, we've got a bad card here. 1 and a blue for an artifact at rare. When it enters, you choose a creature type. Whenever a permanent you control of the chosen type enters, you put a charge counter on this artifact. Tap, remove 3 charge counters from it. The next time you cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn, you copy it, and you can choose new targets. F?
This is, yeah, F. I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. You're going to be sad when you open a pack and look in the top left and see this, because there's so many other busted rares that it really hurts to open a bad one.
Yeah, this is Russian roulette, right? You're like, I have so many chances for things to go right, and you unfortunately got the bullet. Next is Thunderflock, which is 7 blue for a elemental at rare. It's a 5/5. It costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest mana value among elementals you control. Has flying, and says, when this creature enters, if you cast it, return all non-elemental creatures to their owner's hands. This card, I actually even made a little video about this card saying, like, wow, like, this card looks absolutely busted. And I do think it's a good card. But I had this card twice yesterday, and it was more awkward than you might think. The mana value, the mana cost reduction, that actually wasn't a huge deal. I could do that. Get it to 4 or 5 mana fairly easily. But I encountered 2 awkward situations. One, my opponent just had all changelings or elementals of their own. Okay, then it's just like a big flyer. That's fine. It's not terrible. But 2, I was facing some decks that just had, like, great enter the battlefield effect creatures on the battlefield. Like, they had 2 Eclipsed Merfolk. I'm like, I really don't want to cast this. Like, they were at 20 still. I wasn't going to end the game in the next few turns. And, yeah, it was just super awkward. So there's going to be games where this thing is just absolutely busted. You just, like, you're facing elves, you're facing goblins, you're facing Kithkin. Like, you're going to feel great about this card. There's also matchups where it's a little awkward.
There's also number 3, which is when you've potentially Blossom Binded and Noggle to Minded their things, and now you're unlocking them.
Yeah, any enchantments that stick around. Yeah, so I downgraded this. I think... Actually, give me the grades, first of all, and I'll talk about it after.
I also bumped it down a bit, so I was at an A, I moved it to A-, and I can see you're now at a B+.
Yeah, I was just going to say I could even see that being a little bit lower. But yeah, it's a good card, just not a busto bomb, I don't think.
Yep.
Next is Sig Wanderwine Wisdom. This is 1 and a blue for a Merfolk Legend at rare. 2/2, and can't be blocked, just 2/2 unblockable. When it enters or transforms into Sig, like the front side of Sig Wanderwine Wisdom, target creature gains, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, draw a card. Gains that ability till end of turn, which is, I have to say that, because you might think it might not. At the beginning of your first main phase, you may pay white if you do transform Sig into the white version of Sig on the backside. It's 2/2, can't be blocked, same thing. When it transforms into the backside, target creature you control gains protection from each color until end of turn, and you can flip it for a blue to the front side on your first main phase.
I have a lot of sympathy for you because you keep trying to find ways to shortcut these wall of text, and you're like,
I
nope, no, I
know.
can't.
Yep,
I got to
yep.
keep reading. But
That's that. If you're ever wondering, like, why did Alex like read that weirdly, or like, why does he just read the text? That's I'm trying to make it easier for audio only listeners. Walls of text on cards these days, but sometimes you miss an important line of text. Anyways, yeah, cool card.
quite a good one. Like these wall of text cards are often pretty good, and I mean, 2/2 unblockable for 2 is already like pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
You probably won't get to draw a card when it enters, like maybe 30-40% of the time you will, but then flipping it, hitting with 2 unblockable things, flipping it back, hitting for 2 and drawing a card, that's a lot of value on a 2 drop.
Right, and I guess honestly worth noting at this point because they don't print protection cards very often. Protection is DEPT. That's the acronym. So cannot be dealt damage, cannot be enchanted by, like, as you call pro whites, can't be enchanted by a white card, can't be targeted by white cards, and can't be blocked by white cards, let's just say, or whatever color you call. So yeah, like it just covers basically all your grounds.
Well, and this is from each color, so it's totally unblockable
Yep.
aside from the colorless changelings.
Yep.
Yep, great card. I gave it a B plus. You gave it an A minus.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, I was reading it as if I was like you have to choose a color. No, it's every color. All right. Okay, we're on to black cards now with a sweet callback. Bitter Bloom Bearer. BB. This is a very alliterative name. Bitter Bloom Bearer for BB. Black for a 1/1 fairy at Mythic. It's got flash and flying. And it's Bitter Blossom. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose a life and you make a 1/1 blue and black flying fairy token.
The flash is a nice upside. The mana cost is a downside, and I
Mm-hmm.
think the body compared to the enchantment is also a downside because it can be killed.
Yeah, this question came up in my chat yesterday because I actually faced actual factual Bitter Blossom, which is also in the set on the bonus sheet or on the special guest, sorry. And yeah, everything you just said, like it is worse than Bitter Blossom, I would say. Not strictly worse, but worse. But you know, worse. There's a lot of room between Bitter Blossom and a bad card, right? This is still a really good card.
Yeah, we're not going to be talking about grading the special guests today because they're going to come up so infrequently. But just as a little teaser there, you and I both gave Bitter Blossom an A, whereas the Bitter Bloom Bear, I have it A minus and you have it a B plus.
Yeah, yeah, and my grade is like I would also, if this was one in a black, I would kind of bump it up to A minus, just kind of showing where those power points lie. Okay, Bloodline Bidding is 6 black for a sorcery at rare. It has Convoke and says choose a creature type. Return all creature cards of the chosen type from your graveyard to the battlefield. Another kind of funky card that we have a grading disagreement on. So let's start with grades since I know that's the case.
Yeah, 4 grades different, which is massive for us because
Yeah.
we agreed on a lot of stuff on Tuesday. I have this at a D minus. You have it at a C.
Right. So that's with the thought that this is an elf card. You've got self mill. You've got a lot of creatures. That's kind of the caveat. Do you not like it even there?
Yeah, aren't you already winning if you have a lot of creatures in play to be able to cast and convoke this?
Well, I'm like, I don't think you need to convoke a lot. Like, I don't think you have to have a lot of creatures to convoke it. Like, say you have 2, and this is mid to late game, and you've got 6 mana. You bring back 3-4 creatures in the graveyard. No?
Yeah, the elves were self-milling quite heavily.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't give it this grade if there wasn't as much self-mill support, but I think there's quite a bit.
I do feel like it's just easier and maybe even better and more reliable to go with like one of the many other rewards for stocking your graveyard so much.
Oh, yeah, I agree. This isn't one of the better ones.
Right. So yeah, I'm a little dubious,
Mhm.
but I could see the D minus being too low. It just yeah, it just seems like there's a lot of other payoffs when you're already doing the thing, and this both potentially rotting your hand and not counting towards your synergies in the middle of the game. To me, it gives it a little bit of a negative connotation there.
Yeah, no, for sure. I could see this landing like somewhere in between, maybe even closer to your grade. Like, I don't I wouldn't suggest drafting this card highly. I think it's the kind of card you're going to get like 7th pick sometimes. You're like, oh, I'm an elves. This might be a good top end card. Yeah, that's just kind of how I see it there.
Sure. Yeah, that could be totally true for sure.
Next up is Champion of the Weird. And this is 3 and a black for a goblin at rare. It's a 5/5. Big. As initial cost to cast it, behold a goblin and exile it. Has interesting ability. Pay 1 life and blight 2. Target opponent blights 2. Activate that only as a sorcery. And then, of course, when this leaves, you return the exiled card to its owner's hand.
It's kind of funny because I talk a lot sometimes about how much I love cards, and it's not often the A level cards. It's the like weird B level cards that are the ones I love.
The champions of the weird, in fact, sometimes.
This is very aptly named.
Yeah.
I think this card is super strange, probably hard to evaluate, and probably hard to play properly too.
Absolutely to all those things. Yeah. It's a strange card. So, okay. Goblins might have the easiest time, maybe not the easiest, but an easy-ish time fulfilling the behold a thing you might not care about, right? Yeah, nab a token or something. So, like, getting on the battlefield isn't the issue. Not that it's a huge issue for any of these, but just, goblins are abundant. Pay 1, blight 2, like, symmetrical blight, obviously that's, if you've built your deck to want goblins to die, or have cards that care about having counters on them, that is good, but, like, paying 1 life is real, and, I actually played quite a bit with the rare green-black elf, which we'll get to later, which also has your opponent blighting. And I found that card more awkward than I thought. With, again, the situation of your opponent has creatures that are just like, oh yeah, I would love to put a counter on my creature here. Right? You don't get to choose where the opponent puts the counters. They get to choose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird card.
We'll talk about this one for a while because there's just so many interesting things you can do with this.
Mm-hmm.
So you can potentially, like, if you have a goblin in your hand, you can also just potentially play this and pay 3 life and blight your opponent to 3 times and just like have the champion kill itself.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Oh, that is interesting. I did not consider that. Okay, cool.
So, like, if there's a spot where, that could be the push that wins you the game, you can also, there's a lot of tokens in goblins, so blighting 2 on one of your tokens. The more times you do this to your opponent, the more they're going to feel the squeeze, right? Because like sometimes maybe the first blight 2 won't feel that bad for them. And then you're like, okay, now you got to do it again. And your opponent's like, well, I'm not as happy with this one. And then, okay, now you got to do it again. Oh, well, now my board's just like totally gone.
Yeah.
So really board dependent, and it'll be really interesting balancing not only like the champion and this creature's size and what to do and how often and how much life to pay. Like, I really love the dials on this thing.
Yeah, I'm getting the vibe that it isn't all that good, to be honest. Like, not bad, but not, we've been talking about a lot of high B's and A's. I don't think it's there.
No, so I've given this a B minus. You've given it a C plus.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, that could be totally off in either direction, but I like my grade for the time being.
Yeah, I think so too. And just realized the art's pretty sweet too. He's got like 2 hornet's nests in his hands. Like he's just gonna throw them at somebody. Very strange. Dawn Hand Dissident up next is a single black mana for a. I just realized I didn't do these in mana value order. Usually do. My bad if that is something that you were expecting. But Dawn Hand Dissident is a single black mana for a 1/2. It's a rare. It's an elf. Tap Blight 1, Surveil 1. Tap Blight 2, exile target card from a graveyard. During your turn, you may cast creature spells from among cards you own in exile with this creature by removing 3 counters from among creatures you control in addition to paying other costs. Funky card. Yeah, this is kind of similar-ish to the last one, where it's like, this is interesting. It's got some play to it. It's not obviously great or bad.
Yeah, a lot of very finicky cards in black and all rarities, honestly.
Yeah.
Which I'm here for. I love this kind of thing.
So,
this one,
yeah.
there's a lot of things have to go right for you to really feel like you're breaking it with this card, but it's costed so cheaply that I think it's still going to be pretty good.
Right, yeah. Just like 1 mana elf, 1 mana 1/2 elf, like that. It's not a card you'd play, but that stat line's like not embarrassing. You can,
'Cause-
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Well, yeah, because you need to have the capacity for your board to have three. Like it says counters. It could, I mean, it could be stun counters, but most likely it's going to be -1, -1 counters.
Mm-hmm.
So you need both a lot of toughness and to have used that second ability. Like, so you need one counter somewhere, and then the ability to blight two. You need to have something in your graveyard that you care about, and then you have to pay that card's cost as well. So it's like a lot of hoops to basically raise dead,
Right.
but it's only 1 mana and it's a 1/2 and it has the potential to surveil. So it's, and the blight 2 is instant speed, so it could be free if the thing's dying anyways. I will say, while we're on this subject, I don't know if you saw it much in play, but the 1/3 red rummager,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that card actually impressed me more than I thought it would today.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't actually see that one to play. Cool.
Okay. It's just like the instant speed ability to blight to do something. Like in that case, it's rummaging, which is, some of the games are going pretty long. It's not as big a tax as it seems.
Right. Yeah. No, and that's something we didn't mention. We should probably mention that the games, at least in early access, were fairly grindy. Right? They were not over quick. There were some games that were over quick, but the games can definitely drag on a bit and drag to a halt. So Chad is pointing out that there were some streams that made this card look really good. Nummy had it, and I saw a stream or two as well that like this popped off. Also, you can read on my grade in a minute if you'd like here, but I know I would have bumped this up. Like this just slipped through the cracks. I forgot to bump it up. I do think this card's good. I think that it is finicky in some ways, but all the parts add up to good stuff. You don't have to be blighting all the time. You can just keep around. You can blight when you want to. It's instant speed blight, so you can do that thing where yes, and they cast a removal spell. You go, okay, I'll blight. I'll surveil one. I'll exile a card. You can just do it as you please. So yeah, what's your grade? I will read out the grades, but then I'll give you a new grade for me.
Well, so I'm not planning on moving it. Like both of us are currently at a B minus.
Yeah.
And when you consider that the hoops, you need a creature in your graveyard, you need a creature with at least 3 toughness to be able to blight 2 on. You need an additional counter either from this blighting one or for something else happening.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be able to tap this at least once, so that's an additional turn cycle from everything. So there's a lot of things that need to go right for this to pop off, and it dies to a sneeze in most cases. And if you shrink your board and then they just kill the thing that you've, let's say you tap it and you blight 2 and they just shock your creature because it's now a lot smaller, you're back to ground zero.
Right. Yeah. And by the way, grade wise, I thought I gave it a C plus. I was going to give it a B. So I'm actually not that far off. Wasn't far off in either direction. But yeah, you're right. It's also, you got to consider, it's not just like I was saying before. If a card isn't just like I cast it does good things, you gotta ding it a little bit. Interesting card though. We've a lot of words about these last 2 black cards, which is good. We slowed down. There's some non-obvious rares in this set. But yeah, like you said, pretty sweet. Gloom Ripper. Okay, this is an easy one. This is 3 black for a 4/4 elephant rare. When it enters, target creature you control gets +X/+0 until end of turn, and up to 1 target creature an opponent controls gets -0/-X until end of turn. Where X is the number of elves you control plus the number of elf cards in your graveyard. Yeah, card's just great.
Card's insane. I gave it an A+. You gave it an A.
Yeah, I could see it being an A+. Grub, Storied Matriarch, is 2 and a black for a legendary goblin at rare. Grub is a 2/1 menace. When it enters, or flips into this is one of those flip cards, return up to 1 target goblin card from your graveyard to your hand. Beginning of your main phase, you can pay red to transform Grub. The backside is a 2/1 menace. When it attacks, you may blight 1. If you do, you create a tapped-in attacking token that's a copy of the blighted creature, except you have to sacrifice that token on your end step. And of course, has the text of, on your main phase, pay black, flip it back to the front. Yeah, black's got a lot of sweet little interesting cards, right? This one is that backside of like blight a thing, you get a copy. Maybe you want the thing to die. Maybe it has got an interesting enter the battlefield effect. You get a token or something on enter the battlefield. Yeah, I think this card's really sweet.
I moved this up a little bit. I had this in that weird green black deck that was sprinkling a bunch of different creature types where I had 5 changelings, including a nameless inversion, where I thought
Ooh,
I'd play this,
hell
and I
yeah.
don't think I ever drew it. But then I played against a goblin deck with this, and I discarded it from their hand once. I had the blue black deceit or whatever, bounce a thing, discard a card, and got it. And then later on, they drew the return 2 creatures of the same type and returned
Mm,
this, and then returned another thing, and then flipped it. Like the goblins deck can be really grindy. It's
yeah.
kind of scary, especially with this card. It flips in and it all of a sudden makes another thing that has potentially an ETB with menace, like this thing having menace. So it's yeah, I think this card's really sweet.
Yeah. Well, great.
I gave it an A minus. You give it a B plus.
Love the little screaming frog familiar on the shoulder as well. Just be like, "What are you doing?" The art in this set's really good. I don't often like. I'm not often like, "Oh man, I really love the flavor of the art," but Lorwyn does it for me. Next up is Moon Shadow. This is a single black mana mythic elemental. 7/7 menace, which is what's coming next. It enters with 6 -1 counters on it. When one or more permanent cards are put into a graveyard from anywhere, in your graveyard from anywhere, while this creature has a -1 counter on it, you remove one of those counters. So you mill something, it'll grow. Something dies, it'll grow. Evolving Wilds gets sacked, it'll grow.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a banger in cube
Oh yeah, for sure.
with all the fetch lands.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
it's probably worse in, like, most cards are way better in retail limited than they are in cube, but not all of them. And it's still good, but you're not going to reliably trigger this every turn, I don't think.
No, I agree with that. Don't think you have to though. Like it's gonna be a 1/1 menace for a turn or two. Probably can trigger it by turn 4. I'd be a little surprised if you didn't. And then yeah, they have to deal with it. Like it probably won't get an attack in the mid game, but then it just grows and grows and grows.
It's also kind of nice that the elf deck can trigger this by milling, and the goblin deck can trigger this by like blighting away its board.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
enabled on both sides. So sweet card still. Again, these kind of B level ones are the ones that get the most discussion going, and I've given this a B minus. You've given it a B.
Yep. We've got Mourn Song Aria, which is 1 black for a legendary enchantment at rare. Super weird card. Players can't draw cards or gain life. Okay. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player loses 3 life, searches their library for a card, and puts it into their hand and shuffles. So this is just like, hey, I'm paying 3 mana and a card to say, I think I've got better cards in my deck than you do. That's not a great bargain.
Well, either that or you're super aggressive and far ahead.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
This is like this closes out the game, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think aggro decks exist in like to the level of I would want to play this card. Both players lose 3 each turn, like the black aggro decks, anyways.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, you're also spending 3 mana to do nothing. So
Yeah,
even if you are ahead when you have this in hand, casting it might put you on the back foot. Because they're untapping and getting their best thing and going to put it on the board right away. And then all of a sudden, if you're the defensive one and you have to block and then they get a removal spell,
yeah.
I think overall it's just quite bad. We've both given it an F. Could be wrong about that, but I think it's like the set reviewer's responsible F type of thing.
Yep, absolutely. Taster of Wares up next. This is 2 and a black for a 3/2 goblin at rare. When this creature enters, target opponent reveals X cards from their hand, where X is the number of goblins you control. You choose one of those cards. That player exiles it. If it was an instant or sorcery, you can cast it for as long as you control this creature, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. Okay, so very base level here. 3 mana, 3/2 goblin. Make them exile a card from their hand. Okay. Or sorry. Yeah, that's what it is, because they reveal 1.
Yeah, it's yeah, right. It is exile. Sorry, I thought it was discard, but it is exile. You're right. Yeah, I played this in my blue black fairies deck, and it only triggered for 1 almost every single time, and I was still happy with it.
Yeah, and like the any amount of selection on this, like even just seeing 2 cards is pretty good. Once you get to the point where they actually have to show you a spell, like if you're playing against this card, you're basically like, okay. I mean, I'm sure there's some situations where you're going to show them a spell that they can cast, but like you really hope not to. And yeah,
Yeah,
I
I had a
mean,
goblin.
yeah, it's
Go
Goblin.
ahead.
No, yeah, go ahead, go ahead. No, that's all.
No, I had a goblin deck cast this against me for 3, and then I had to discard a spell, and I was very sad. It
Yeah.
was only 3 mana. Great.
Yeah. Yeah, card's really strong. What do we give it?
B plus from me, B from you.
Nice. Twilight Diviner is 2 and a black for an elf at rare. It's a 3/3. When it enters, you surveil 2. Whenever one or more creatures you control enter, if they entered or were cast from a graveyard, create a token that's a copy of one of them. This ability triggers only once each turn.
Not a lot of things that trigger that second line of text.
No, there's not. You're mostly looking at this as like 3 mana, 3/3, surveil 2 elf. Once in
Which
a
is still
while,
fine.
yeah, still fine, totally. Once in a while, you'll get a token or something, like, you know, a little bit of something, but yeah.
It's like even the common, the 5/4 that exiles to make a token from your graveyard,
Mm-hmm.
even that doesn't work because the token's not entering from your graveyard.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm just happy with a bit of reprieve from just like B plus A. This is the rare C or C plus. That's fine by me.
I mean, it's well statted. It has an ETB. I still gave this a B minus,
Yeah.
but you gave it a C plus, which I totally understand.
Yeah. Next up, we've got red cards. Ashling Rekindled, the first one. 1 in a red for a 1/3 legendary elemental at rare. When this creature enters or transforms into this side, you can discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Beginning of your first main phase, you can pay blue to flip it to the backside, which is a 1/3 that says when it transforms into this card, at the beginning of your first main phase, add 2 mana of any one color. Spend this only to cast spells mana value 4 or greater. And then pay red on your main phase, you can flip it back.
Again, we graded this the exact same. I gave this a B minus. You gave this a C plus. I was talking on Tuesday about how the Elementals deck is a little short at the 2-drop spot, so it's really nice that this fills that, smooths your draws, and the +1 mana there. Like the one of the cards that impressed me the most in early access was the red Behold Elemental, the 2/1 that you can give trample, and once you do it the third time, add 4 red to your mana pool.
Yeah.
I was generating mana left, right, and center with that card yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Like,
Sweet.
I had it in multiple decks. It was the +1 mana makes a really big difference in elementals because you're drawing and filtering through so many cards.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I believe it. That's cool. I'm glad that card's worked out. I didn't call it out for the last few of these flip cards. I think only we did it for the first one, but this is one I don't think you'd be excited to play on the front side. I mean, you could play it. It's a playable, but you're not. I think you would want to find something else.
Yeah, it's filler level for mono red.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah. Great.
I give him. Yeah, I give.
Oh, sorry. We said.
I mean,
that's right.
From me, C plus from you. Yeah.
Totally. Champion of the Path is 3 in a red for a 7/3 elemental at rare. As an initial cost, you hold an elemental and exile it. Whenever another elemental you control enters, it deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. When this creature leaves, you get back the exiled card. So I would say the worst of the cycle. We haven't seen the green one yet, but this one, no immediate impact, and not even really guaranteed to do anything when you untap with it, aside from being a 7/3. I might also say this one has the highest ceiling, though, because it could be absurd. You could just, like, you know, deal a ton of damage to the opponents and just go off with it.
Well, okay, so this would be much better as like a 3/7, right? Like it would.
I would like a blocker. Yes, I would like my 4-mana card to block nicely and be a bit resilient to some of the removal.
Because the other really awkward thing about this is the beholding an elemental either removes your board when you're playing a 4-mana 3 toughness creature, or takes an elemental out of your hand, which then reduces the impact of the ability.
Yeah, now I kind of hate it. I mean, I didn't like it before, but after you said that, I kind of hate it.
Yeah, my guess is this card's bad. I've given it a D plus. You've given it a D, and you could be right about that. And I'm very confident this is the worst of the cycle.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up is Collective Inferno. 3 red red for an enchantment at rare. It has Convoke. As it enters, you choose a creature type. Double all damage that sources you control of the chosen type would deal.
We've got a theme that I've just noticed
Hmm.
where the convoke heavy reward for specific creature type rares are all much higher graded by you than by me.
It's true. Yeah, yeah. I noticed that on the spreadsheet or on the tier list as well.
Is there? I can't think of the white one, but I guess we had like the blue one was the draw cards, the black one was the reanimate everything, and now we have the
Winnowing.
red one.
It's the
Double
Bad
damage.
Wrath, right? The Bad Wrath.
Okay, that I guess, but yeah, okay. So I guess that is supposed to be the cycle. That's disappointing, but I'm also much lower than you on this one. We won't rehash the reasons, like the upsides there, the downsides there. You've given this a C plus. I've given it a D.
Yep. Next, we've got End Blaze Epiphany. X and a red for an instant at rare. It deals X damage to target creature. When that creature dies this turn, exile a number of cards from the top of your library equal to its power. The creature you killed, that is. And then choose a card exiled this way until end of turn. Until the end of your next turn, you can play that card. Sweet.
This card is excellent. However, I did experience the negative variant side of it twice. Like I had it in a blue red deck where one time I killed a big thing. I revealed, like I killed, the 6/5 land cycler that enter the battlefield. They can play an extra card, the
Mm-hmm.
elemental. So it flipped 6 cards. All 6 were spells.
Mm-hmm.
And then like my next 4 or 5 cards were lands. And so I lost. And then I had another one where I cast it on turn 3 and like killed something that was a 2/1 and flipped the top 2 cards. And it was both of my 6 drops. And then I ended up decking out because I didn't have enough closers. So there's some risk with the downside there, but the case of this just being kill a thing, draw a card with selection, I'm not reducing my grade. We've still both given it an A. This card is excellent.
Yep. Great. Goliath Daydreamer is 2 red red for a 4/4 giant at rare. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand, exile that card with a dream counter on it instead of putting it in your graveyard as it resolves. Whenever this creature attacks, you can cast a spell from among cards in exile with dream counters on them without paying its mana cost. Hmm.
I had this in my first deck in the red white deck, and I got to pop off with it a couple times. It's the like if you untap with this, I know there's no ETB, no protection, but it just takes one removal spell and you go to town.
Yeah, I faced it a few times, and luckily I did remove it each time. But I do know if I they cast a removal spell after when I killed it, so I would have been in a world of hurt if I couldn't kill it. It's really asking the question, right? Like this is always the thing. I think if you've been following our set reviews or any of my content for a while, or even just today, you'll know we're like, okay, 4 mana, no into the battlefield, no protection. That is bad, but there's always that ceiling. You're like, if you do get to untap, how busted is it? I think it's got the ceiling.
Yeah. So still give it, I mean, a fine grade. I think I'm going to be happy to play this, not cutting them, but not a huge pull. I gave it a C plus. You give it a C.
Yeah. Hexing Squelcher is 1 in a red for a 2/2 goblin at rare. It can't be countered, has ward, pay 2 life, and says spells you control can't be countered, and other creatures you control have ward 2, pay 2 life.
This is one of those rares where, again, by itself it's fine, but in conjunction with other rares that you have to answer, becomes really annoying.
Yeah. I think even just in the goblin deck, like a 2/2 that pings your opponent a little bit, even once, they kill this, they're going to want to kill this first, most likely. Like that plays right into the goblin's plan of just bleed him out, nickel and dime him.
Yeah, I think I would actually potentially bump my grade up on this after having seen it a few times. We both currently have it at a C. I think I might move it up to a C plus.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. Lava Leaper is 3 in a red for a 4/4 elemental at rare. All creatures have haste. That's your opponents too. And whenever a player taps a basic land for mana, that player adds 1 mana of any type that land produced. This is a really good card if you gotta pick your kids up from school, if you gotta go to the airport, if you just want the game to be over quick, one way or the other.
Very risky. Like,
Yeah.
you're almost never going to cast this on turn 4, because even though you might push damage and come very close to ending the game, your opponent untapping with 8 mana and all their creatures having haste
Yep.
is terrifying.
Yep.
And then if you cast it in like a late enough game where you are able to benefit from the double mana stuff, it's still super risky. I don't think it's there. I think this card's probably pretty bad. We've both given it a D-.
Yeah, I don't think this card is very good at all. It's just such a disaster when you your opponent taps, has 1,000,000 mana, and all their things have haste. Meek Attack is 3 mana, 2 in a red, for an enchantment and mythic. 1 in a red, you can put a creature card with total power and toughness 5 or less from your hand onto the battlefield. It gains haste. You sack it on the end step. Call back to Sneak Attack. Cute card, but not very good in limited.
No, both gave it an F. Card's terrible.
Skullsback Scrounger is 1 in a red for a 3/2 goblin at rare. At the beginning of your first main phase, you can blight 1, and if you do, you make a treasure token.
I had this with the fairy that you remove a counter from to make it so all your creatures hit to draw cards.
Oh, sick. That is a real good combo. You also make mana as you're drawing cards. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and just being like well statted, and this is the kind of card where there's a couple spots in the game where you can blight to get the mana. This card's really good. I gave it a C+. You gave it a B-.
Yeah, this card is very clearly a warthog, though. I guess the goblins on Lorwyn kind of look like that, but this is even more piggy looking than normal. Next up is Soul Immolation. This is 3 red for a sorcery at Mythic, Sweetheart. As an additional cost to cast this spell, Blight X. X can't be greater than the greatest toughness among creatures you control. Soul Immolation deals X damage to each opponent and each creature they control. Wow.
So this one, when we had both graded things on Tuesday, I think both of us misunderstood this card.
Yes, absolutely. I think we both read it as like, oh, you need to blight onto your biggest thing, right? You're just like, all right, you gotta, it's basically sack a thing, deal whatever damage. That's not the case, though. You can have a 1/1, have a 4/4. You go, yep, I blight 4, onto the 1/1. I keep my 4/4, deal 4 to everything that you control.
Yeah, and it's not like they can even, like, they can't kill, blight doesn't target, so that you can't counter that by killing the creature or anything like that.
Right. Yeah, seems
so
pretty
it
busted.
does have the requirement where you basically need a big creature and a small creature for it to really be doing the thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you only have a small creature, it might be okay. Like, it might just be a full wrath where you kill your thing and kill a couple of their things. If you have a big creature, same thing. It might be a wrath, or it might be shrink your thing, kill a bunch of stuff. So I moved it up from, I think I was at a C or something, C- before, and I moved it up to a B. You went all the way to A-. And honestly, I still don't know. I had this in my red-white deck, and I discarded it once because I didn't need it on the board, so I didn't actually play it. But the potential is there for sure.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, would you play this in... You were saying you want a small thing and a big thing. Would I play this in a goblin deck where most of my things are small? And I think you still would, right? I think, like, even if you just have a 2/2, like, you go, okay, like, that's sack that, 2 to all my opponent's stuff, 2 to them. Like, that's not an A-level card or anything, but that's still a pretty solid one.
That's probably true. And the fact that you always get to choose the amount, like, to a certain maximum, but you could have, a 5/5 and the 1/1 that you gave the example of, and just choose to deal. Well, I guess you wouldn't deal 3. You may as well just deal 5.
Yeah, you might as well. Why not, right?
but anyways, there could be spots where, doing it for 1 or whatever is all you need, because you only shrink your board by 1. So there's spots where it could be interesting to pick other numbers as well.
Yep. Yeah, very interesting card. I assume we'll be busted. Okay, next up is Spine Rock Tyrant. 3 red for a 6/6 mythic, flying and wither. which, if you weren't with us yesterday or the other day, it means this creature deals damage to creatures in the form of -1 counters. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell with a single target, you can copy it. If you do, that spell gains Wither, and of course, you can choose new copies for those spells. Or sorry, new targets for those copies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
go
falls
ahead.
into my new rule. 5 mana, no ETB, no protection. I gave it another B plus.
Yeah, does have some protection, being like a 6/6, but like it's quite big. Not some of the damage based stuff won't kill it, but yeah, point still stands.
Yeah, you gave this a B.
Yeah. Okay, green, Aurora Awakener. Had this card yesterday. Sounds like you did too. 6 and a green for a 7/7 trample, giant and mythic. Vivid. When this creature enters, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal X permanent cards, where X is the number of colors amongst permanents you control. Put any number of those permanents onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I cast this card and I revealed like 2 other Vivid cards, and it felt amazing. It was like 2 other Vivid cards plus a land. Felt amazing. I I actually went into my draft being like, I kind of want to draft Vivid. See how, I hope I open a good Vivid rare. And it was this. Card is very good.
Yeah, I had it counterspelled once and then resolved it twice and hit only lands, and it was still fine. Like,
Yeah.
I hit 2 lands twice, and it was still, a 7/7 trample, put 2 lands into play. It was still good enough.
Yeah, still good enough.
So we both give this an A.
Yep, great card. Bloom Tender. This is a reprint, 1 and a green for a 1/1 elf at Mythic. They upshifted it. Darn those wizards. This is, it says Vivid, tap, for each color among permanents you control. Add 1 mana of that color. Okay, I understand. They had to upshift it. They needed the money to add the Vivid text. That makes sense. Okay, so
Yes.
so yeah, it's green by itself and can be very explosive.
It's pretty similar to like Raucous Audience.
Yeah, just like a 2/1 that adds green, yeah, it can add 2 as the game goes on.
Yeah, it's like 1 less power, but the
Mhm.
opportunity to add 3 to 5 mana in the late enough portion of the game. So
Yep.
we're both happy with it, but not like super excited by it. We both gave it a C.
Next up is Bristlebane Battler. This is 1 and a green for a 6/6 Kithkin at rare. Has Trample and Ward 2. It enters with 5 -1 counters on it, and whenever another creature you control enters, while this creature has negative counters on it, you remove a -1 counter. Yeah.
Terrifying card. I did move this down based on feedback from someone else. One of the players playing in the upcoming PT was talking about how this card, like without a lot of token makers, it just doesn't actually scale that quickly. So if you're on the draw, it might never really get a chance to attack for a while, even if you have it on turn 2, because it'll be attacking potentially as like a 2/2 on turn 3, a 3/3 on turn 4, a 4/4 on turn 5. So even if you're just playing a creature every turn, it doesn't grow super fast. So
Yeah.
when the best case scenario is you have it on curve and play a creature every turn, and it still might not be like insane, I did bump this down a little bit.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. Yeah. I still think it's good. Like, even if it's just like suspend 6/6 Trample Ward 2 for 2 mana, like that's a pretty solid card. So what do we end up giving it?
I've given it a B plus. You've given it an A minus.
Yeah, so okay, still in the same ballpark. Celestial Reunion is X and a green for a sorcery at Mythic. As an additional cost to cast this, you may choose a creature type and behold 2 creatures of that type. Search your library for a creature card with mana value X or less, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. If the spell's additional cost was paid, you put that thing onto the battlefield instead.
Card sucks. It's a lot of words for nothing.
Yep. I mean, not quite F, but maybe F, actually.
It's an F.
Yeah.
We both gave it an F. Stick by it. Don't play this card. This card's bad.
Yep. Next up is Champions of the Perfect. This is 3 and a green for a 6/6 elf at rare. As initial cost to cast it, you behold an elf and exile it. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. And when this leaves, you get to get the exiled card back.
Another one where it's awkward to behold from your hand, which is typically what you want to do with these,
Yeah.
because again, you don't get the draw card off of it next. But yeah, fuels itself, massive creature. There's a lot of elves in the set, so B plus from me, A minus from you.
Next up is the JED Invitational. I did get to play this one. This is Formidable Speaker, 2 and a green for an elf at rare, 2/4. When it enters, you may discard a card. If you do, search your library for a creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle, and 1 tap, untap another target permanent. So yeah, tutor's your best creature. Basically, you gotta upgrades the worst card in your hand into the best creature in your deck. And that untap ability is minor, but there are some things you can do with it. Like I had it with Puka's Eye, the artifact that draws cards that you can untap there. I guess if you have a Bloom Tender making multiple mana, that kind of works.
Not much to add. Yeah, turning your land into the best creature in your deck is great. It's well statted. A minus from me, B plus from you.
Mutable Explorer. Love this card. This is 2 and a green for a 1/1 changeling at rare. When it enters, you make a tapped Mutavault token. And for those who have not been playing Infinite Years, Mutavault is a land that says tap, add colorless, and you can pay 1 to wake it up into a 2/2 creature with all creature types until end of turn.
Nice little ramp guy with types and additional value. I like this thing. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, good card.
B plus from me, A minus from you.
Oops, sped through one here. Sapling Nursery is 6 green for an enchantment at rare and has affinity for forests. Landfall, you make a 3/4 Treefolk token with reach, and 1 and a green, exile this enchantment. Treefolk and forest you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Mono green only, correct? Or at least very heavy green.
I think so. Because you really, if you're not mono green, like a single land of another color is reducing your treefolk count, right? Like it's basically -1 from the start, and you want this to snowball such that I'm not explaining myself very well here, but okay, so if you have mono green and you're all forests, you can cast this on turn 4, and then let's say you play 3 more lands throughout the course of that game. Your 5th, 6th, and 7th land all make 3/4s. So
right.
You get 3 out of them on turns 5, 6, and 7.
Right.
Having a single off-color land means that this comes down on 5. So now, again, if you only have the 6th and 7th land that you draw that game, you're only getting 2 triggers on turns 6 and 7. So not only do you get less creatures, you also start that train later, and it basically compounds how bad it is from that point.
Yes. And I think chat maybe a little bit. We're not saying that it only triggers off of forests. Like we know that. It's just that if you aren't playing forests in the early game, like Mark said, like you're basically getting fewer tree folk over the course of the game because you'll have to have played the lands before to actually get this into play, right? So, like the sooner this comes down, the better. It's kind of the big idea. And if you get this down to let's just say turn 5, right? You've got 3 forests in play, 2 plains. How many tokens are you actually going to be making past that, right? Like sometimes none, sometimes 1, sometimes 2. If it's 2, you're getting 2 3/4s over the course of 2 turns. That's like passable, but not good.
Yeah, for 5 mana. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like I think the thing is a lot of time when you're imagining that situation, people imagine like the game's gonna go on for 4, 5, 6, 7 more turns. I mean, some games will. A lot of games won't though. And this card is either stuck in your hand or you did 5 mana do almost nothing. So that's why we're really putting an emphasis on close to mono green here.
And there's also like we had a card that made lands or that made creatures when lands came into play perform really well in Edge of Eternities, but that set was full of lander tokens.
Right. Yeah. There's not too many additional ways, like not a ton of spells. I guess there's the colorless changeling that goes and searches for a land. I was gonna say not a ton of spells that get you additional lands.
Yeah, I mean, there's also this kind of combos well with the 3 mana ramp spell that gets you a Tree Folk as well, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe there's a dream there, but and it does also combo with the Evolving Wilds to get
Yeah.
2 triggers off of it.
Yeah.
But between the awkwardness, the downside, the chance of you actually drafting this, I graded this way lower than you. I'm assuming you gave it like a ceiling grade, but I just think this is going to come together so infrequently that you don't really need to spend a pick on it. So I gave this a D plus. You gave it a B minus.
Yeah, and it seems to be a kind of divisive card, or at least what we're saying is kind of controversial in chat here. Like, it's not we're not gonna call the police on you if you put this card in your deck on 10 or 9 forest or something. We're just saying it's probably gonna be a lot worse than you're imagining it being, right? Or at least if it's good, it's like just by the virtue of math, you will have experienced the good side of variance if you make 4 tokens off of this, right? Like, we're not saying this is not like based on like kind of a feeling. Like, this is just the math of how things work out. That's all. Yeah. Anyways, next card is Selfless Safe Right. This is 3 green for a 4/2 elf at rare. It's got Flash and Convoke. When this enters, you choose a creature type. Other permanents you control of that type gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn.
So this is the green one.
Oh yeah, I guess so. I didn't even realize it was part of a cycle, but yeah, this is a cycle.
Didn't either.
Yeah, kind of.
And I actually kind of like this one. So okay, we're not going to disagree on all 5 of them at least.
Yeah. So
yeah, this one it's like good but unexciting, like in my opinion. So it's mostly going to help you on blocks, but you either like there's some tension before casting this pre-blocks to use the 4/2 in the blocking phase, or blocking first and then convoking it out so you get the additional indestructible ability.
Mm-hmm.
I could see us being too low on this, but we've both got this currently at a C plus. I don't know, question mark.
Yeah. I the lowish grade, because I think you can read this card and be like, wow, it like set up awesome blowouts with it. Is like you're not too often just gonna want to run this out. Like, if you draw this and you can cast it, you could run it out. I guess it's not the worst thing. Like a Flash 4/2, but it's not exciting. It's not great, and you're gonna be, I think, often kind of like waiting for an opportunity to really get value out of it. So it might be stuck in your hand for a bit. I might be underrating how happy you are just to run it out as a 4/2 though.
Yeah, this is one I haven't seen yet, and I think this is one you're gonna have to see a couple times to know how good it is.
Yeah, for sure. Spry and Mighty up next is 4 and a green for a sorcery at rare. Choose 2 creature cards you control. You draw X cards, and the chosen creatures get +X and gain trample until end of turn, where X is the difference between the chosen creature's power. Okay, so you have a 1/1 and a 4/4. They both get +3/+3 in trample. You draw 3 cards. Notably, this says choose, which isn't target. And in Magic-Ese, those are different things. You still will draw the cards, even if one of them gets removed. Is that the way that works? I got that right?
Yes, that's my understanding as well.
Yeah, so they can't blow it out, basically. And the other creature that doesn't die, if they kill one in response, will get the pump still.
This is one that I think it was Reed Duke who does like commentary or articles about this, and it was really high on this card. I'm low, you're very low.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be somewhere in the middle, because like it's almost trivial to get this to be X equals 1, right? Like let's start there.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because green decks, you're almost always going to have a board with 2 creatures. So obviously, requirement 1 is you need 2 creatures. If you don't have 2 creatures, the card does stone nothing. Assuming you have 2 creatures, if you're able to do it for 1, 2 creatures getting +1/+1 trample, and you draw a card, it's not horrible.
That is true. I want to just pause the convo for a second, because, to be clear, I said you can't blow this out. So the way this actually works is, like, you cast this, you put it on the stack. The opponent can respond still. You haven't targeted anything. If you only have 2 creatures on the battlefield, that is still kind of a blowout, right? They kill one, you go, I now have 1 creature, right? So you can't get fully blown out if you've got at least 3 creatures. There's still some blow up potential, like, okay, you've got 2/2/2s, right? You know, I killed the 3/3 or the 4/4 you had. It's just not like disruptible in the way that these kind of cards usually are. So yeah, it's a little bit strange. Sorry, let's get back to X equals 2. Are we happy with X equals 2?
I think so. Like I'm coming around on it basically.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, Reed, by the way, Reed gave this like a 4.5 out of 5.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think it's that high either. But, you know, whenever a great player says something about a card that I disagree with, it makes me think, you know? And, yeah, I agree. I think this is probably not as low as I had it.
So, well, we haven't talked about the grades. Like our grade, 4.5 is basically like that's on a 5-point scale, right? Like that's
It's like an A minus kind of, or an A, yeah, right?
You gave this a D minus,
mm-hmm.
just to provide the range there.
Yeah, I was too low.
I gave it a D plus. I think it's probably in like the C range.
So when you said somewhere in between, you meant like somewhere in between Reed and you, and I'm just thrown to the side. My opinion doesn't matter.
Between Reed and you is the
okay, yeah.
I'm closer to it.
You're just floating in the wind. Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, no, I agree. A D minus. I don't know what I was thinking when I gave this a D minus. I think I might have even missed the choose little line of text there. All right, let's go to Tristan, Callous Cultivator, which is a 2 and a green 3/4 Death Touch elf at rare. It's a legend. When this creature enters or transforms into Tristan, mill 3 cards, and then if there's an elf in your graveyard, you gain 2 life. At the beginning of your main phase, you can pay black, transform him into 3/4 Death Touch. When it transforms into this creature, mill 3 cards, and then you can exile an elf from your graveyard. If you do, each opponent loses 2 life, and you can flip him back on the main phase for green mana.
This is one you definitely don't need black mana for.
No, yeah, 3/4 Death Touch. I mean, in a non-black deck, you're not that likely to hit an elf.
That's fine.
But yeah, I was gonna say, but that's still fine. Like 3/4 Death Touch is a great stat line for 3.
Yes, yeah. I gave this a B minus. You gave this a B.
Kind of funny though. Like, I mean, obviously you're gonna track this as you're playing, but this thing can mill you out pretty quickly, right? Which is often a good thing, but you do have to track that. Like mill.
You don't have to flip these, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's optional.
Yeah.
Okay, gold cards now, and quite a few multicolor hybrid gold cards. Deepweight Navigator, the first one here. This is blue-white for a 2/2 Merfolk at rare. Has flash. When this creature enters, untap each other Merfolk you control. And as long as you attack with 3 or more Merfolk this turn, Merfolk you control get +1/+0.
I'm 2 grades lower than you on this, and this probably just comes back to how we view the Merfolk deck to play out. Like I just didn't see it attacking with 3 creatures that often.
Mm-hmm.
So this mostly reads as like a 2/2 flash untap your creatures, which to me is fine but unexciting. I still think I'm a little too low on this. I gave this a C minus. You give it a C plus. I'd probably give it like a C or a C plus. It's okay but unexciting.
Yeah, I do think that even seeing Merfolk as a bit more of a slow deck, like this could be one of the things that helps you convert your board into an actual win, right? Like you don't need too many attacks with, because this doesn't have to get into combat, right? You can just keep this in the battlefield, right? So
no, I do like your grade more than mine on this
okay,
one.
Gotcha. Yeah. Worse than the uncommon though. I think we're kind of putting that stamp on it, right? The uncommon lord.
Yeah.
Next up is Sig's Command, 1 blue-white for a Kindred Sorcery Merfolk at rare. So there's a cycle for each of the main creature types. Kindred commands, kind of cool. Choose 2. Create a token that's a copy of target Merfolk you control. Creatures target player controls gain lifelink until that turn. Target player draws a card, and tap target creature, put a stun counter on it.
I think this is the worst out of the 5, and it's still like pretty good.
Yeah, still pretty good. The
lifelink one's kind of meh.
But like yes and no, right? Because when it matters, it's really going to matter, right? It's more narrow, but yeah,
they're all like a little more narrow. Like so. Copying a Merfolk, most Merfolk are fairly small, so that'll be nice. Like that'll probably be one of the ones you're happy to do. But for 3 mana, getting a copy of your 2-drop or 3-drop's going to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other abilities, I mean, draw cards good, tap something, stun it's good, lifelink's good, but none of these are really that exciting.
Yeah, I think default mode of just like make a copy of my best thing that cantrips for 3 mana. That's not bad.
Yeah, make an Eclipsed Marrow and draw 2 cards basically.
Oh
Like it's
yeah, beauty. So yeah, what do we grade it?
still a good card. B minus from me, C plus from you.
We've got Deceit up next. So this is the cycle of Mythic Elementals with Evoke. So this is 4 Dimir Hybrid for a 5/5 Elemental at Mythic. When it enters, if blue was spent to cast it, return up to 1 target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If black was spent to cast it, target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land from it. That player discards it and has Evoke for Hybrid Dimir, which means you can cast it for that cost, but it goes to the grave immediately, right? Like stays in the battlefield, gets its ETB, then goes to the graveyard.
I found grading these really tough
Mm.
because it's almost like you're grading it as a function of how good is the full package, how good is evoking either side, how good is casting it for just one side if you're going to play it in non, this type of pair, and how often are you going to end up in a situation where you can play both halves. So you're
Right.
kind of combining all those four factors together. In blue black, which I ended up playing, like this was my first pick in one of the drafts, which was great. The deck was fantastic. It's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
How happy are you playing this in either a blue deck or a black deck, though?
A mono like a non-blue black deck. I think you'd still be fine with it because like split card, 2 mana, look at their hand, take a thing, 6 mana, 5/5, probably grab something because by turn 6, like yes, hands are emptied but not completely empty usually. I think that's still okay. Not exciting, but okay, playable.
Notably, like Arena will automatically stack these the correct way for you, but the idea is even if your opponent's empty-handed, if you have blue black, you bounce something and then make them discard it.
Yes, exactly. Um, Also, this entire cycle, just like great first picks, not just on power level, but quite flexible as well. Because like there are some here and there where you wouldn't just want to cast them for just their one color, but a lot of them you're kind of just like if you're in a blue white deck, you're gonna play this card.
Yeah. So either way, I think like the grades are kind of nebulous, maybe like somewhere in the middle of where the best case to average case might be. I gave this an A minus. You give it an A.
Yeah. We've got Dream Harvest, which is 5 Dimir Hybrid for a sorcery at rare. Each opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they have exiled cards with mana value 5 or greater this way. Total mana value 5 or greater this way. Until end of your turn, you can cast those cards without paying their mana costs.
I had this cast against me twice already.
Mm-hmm.
In the first instance it was cast, like as they start flipping cards, they hit first a 4-drop, then a 6-drop. So they got 10 mana off my deck and ended up being a game-winning card for them.
Mm-hmm.
In another game, it was almost as good. It hit a 4-drop and a 3-drop, but because it cost 7 and it had been in their hand so long, even that high roll was still not enough for them to come back, and I still ended up winning this game. And there's spots where you just hit like a counter spell and a 2-drop and you do basically nothing. And there's spots where you just hit a 5-drop and this is a 7-mana 5-drop. And overall, I think this card's quite bad despite the potential high rolls. We both gave this an F.
Yeah, and that might be slightly low. I could see this being like a D, but like, yeah, it reads sort of exciting, but 7's just a ton. That each really pulling a lot of weight when they designed this card because they were thinking about Commander, I'm sure. Grub's Command, which is the Goblin command. 3 black-red for a rare sorcery. It's a Goblin. Choose 2. Make a copy of a Goblin. Creature's target player control get +1/+1 and gain haste until end of turn. Destroy target artifact or creature. And target player mills 5 cards and then puts each Goblin card milled this way into their hand.
This is the only one that has 2 of the options reward you for goblins.
Hmm.
And I moved this up after seeing goblins be like legitimate decent strategy, because if you can pack your deck full of goblins, this card's going to be great.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, even just ignoring, like, forget about if you had some weird non-goblin red-black deck. Kill a thing, give your creatures +1/+1 in haste. That's a great mode just alone, right?
Because you're not that high on this card.
Oh, I'm annoyed. What did I give it?
You give it a C plus.
Hmm. That is too low. I was sloppy this time around grading the rares, it seemed. I think I did. I moved things around at the wrong time. Or maybe one of my lists didn't save or something like that. Giving excuses here. But anyways, I like this card more than a C+, definitely.
Okay, yeah, I've got
Yeah.
it at a B, and I think it could even be a B plus.
Yeah. This card seems sweet. Next is Shadow Urchin. I actually had this one quite a bit and played against it too. This is 2 and a Rakdos hybrid for an oof at rare. It's a 3/4. When it attacks, blight 1. Whenever a creature you control with one or more counters on it dies, exile that many cards from the top of your library. Until your next end step, you may play those cards. And it's a bit opaque here, but the that many is referring to the number of counters on the card when it died.
Okay, PSA, because I'm usually like, maybe this is bragging too much, but I'm usually one of the people in early access. Like, I've read the cards multiple times, I've thought about them, I've seen all the lines, I've kind of imagined a lot of things. I don't make a lot of big mistakes.
Yeah.
Don't do what I did,
Okay.
okay? If you are going to cast Blight Rot on this, do it before their end step.
That's the negative 4 negative counters, right?
Yes.
So what to spell it out, what happens if you don't?
They get 4 cards available until the end of their next turn.
Yeah. That's not good. That is very bad.
No, so if
Yeah.
you set a stop second main and they tap out, then you're like free to do it, because you just basically exile 4 cards from their deck.
Right.
But this card is really interesting to play with.
Yeah, I found that too. I had spots where I attacked with it and had a few counters on a card. Like I was sending it to its death basically. They had a 5/5. But my creature had 2 counters on it. I put a third one on. I was like kind of fine cashing it for 3 cards. It's interesting to figure out, do you even want 2 blights when you attack with it? Sorry. I mean, you have to. It's not optional, but like, do you want to put it on something that you intend to actually die? Do you want to just like keep this as a good attacker for a while and just spread the love out?
Yeah, so the play pattern I found I wanted to do most with this was play a creature I don't care about much pre-combat, attack with this, like, because you usually had a good attack because it's huge, and then blight onto the other thing, and then that thing can then block on their turn, and you still get the cards until the end of your end step. So you're basically like drawing free cards on top of that for this. So there's a lot of different ways you can spread the counters around here, and the potential to draw multiple cards off of it. And being huge, I think this card's very strong.
Yeah. Good card. Grades.
B plus from me and a B from you.
Next, we've got Raiding Schemes, which is 3 red-green for enchantment at rare. Each non-creature spell you cast has Conspire, which means as you cast a non-creature spell, you may tap 2 untapped creatures you control that share a color with that spell. When you do, copy it, and you can choose new copies. And also, if you copy a creature, it becomes a permanent spell. That's actually a little bit of a new thing. I just realized that Conspire was an old mechanic. It used to only work for spells. Now it works for permanents as well. Kind of cool, but still not very good, I don't think.
This only works for non-creatures, though.
Oh yeah, weird. Oh yeah, duh, of course. Yeah. Okay, I was getting my wires crossed with like that rules update they did a few years ago.
The
Yeah.
reminder text is telling you how
Right.
Conspire works.
Right. My bad. Okay. So even worse than what I was talking about a second ago.
Yeah, it might be interesting if you could, like, but this thing requires you to spend 5 mana on a do nothing, have 2 creatures in play, and still have non-creatures in your hand. Both gave it an F.
Yep. Next up is Vibrance, which is 3 Gruul Hybrid. This is the Gruul Elemental at Mythic. It's a 4/4. When it enters, if red was spent to cast it, it deals 3 damage to any target. If green was spent, search your library for a land, reveal it, put it into your hand, and you gain 2 life. And as with all these, has evoke for Gruul.
This one's my favorite.
Yeah, card sweet.
Yeah, this one, I think you're happy, like quite happy to play it in any red deck and fine evoking it for red mana, which
Mm-hmm.
like the blue black one, I wasn't super happy evoking it for either cost. I'd be okay playing this in a green deck that does not have red mana for the 5 mana version of it, and potentially the 2 mana as well. And if you're ever red green with this, like this is just bananas.
Yeah, just like it's like a lightning helix that draws you a land, basically, right when it comes in. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Also,
Both gave
yeah,
it
I
an
mean,
eight.
oh yeah, you go good.
I was just gonna give the grades. We both gave it an A plus.
Yeah, card is great. I know this might be kind of obvious to a lot of folks, but like if you're reading these cards for the first time, you haven't seen cards like this before, it might be kind of like slightly hard to parse or just like imagine. But the whole idea is like when you cast it with both, it's like 1 red, red, green, green, and that's where you get all the effects, right? It's the hybrid mana cost kind of maybe fools you for a second because like, oh, I can only do 1. No, you get both if you have a red green deck.
Yes.
Bridget's Command up next. This is 1 green white for a Kithkin sorcery, a rare. Choose 2. Make a copy of a Kithkin you control. Target player creates a 1/1 Kithkin token. Target creature you control gets +3/+3 until end of turn, and target creature you control fights target creature an opponent controls.
This one's real nice. Like this is exactly what Kithkin are looking for. You copy your 3/4 that pumps everything and give another creature +3/+3, or just kill them. You give something +3/+3 and fight, and just there's so many ways that this wins the game. A minus from both of us.
Yep, great card. Figure of Fable. Call back to Figure of Destiny. This is Selesnya Hybrid for a 1/1 Kithkin at rare. 3 abilities. Level up your 1/1. Single Selesnya mana, Selesnya Hybrid. This creature becomes a Kithkin Scout with base power and toughness 2/3. 1 Selesnya, so 3 mana. If it's a Scout, so if you've activated their first ability, it becomes a Kithkin Soldier with base power and toughness 4/5. And for 6 Selesnya Hybrid, 6 mana. If it's a soldier, it becomes a Kithkin Avatar with base power and toughness 7/8, and has protection from each of your opponents, which just means you can't touch it. I mean, you can wrath it, but not even with the red one. The red one deals damage, right? So this is protected from that. So basically, this thing's sticking around if you get it up there.
And notably, just to spell it out, that like protection from each of your opponents doesn't just mean that they can't target it. It includes their creatures. Like they can't even block it.
Yes, they can't block it. This blocks everything. Just the monster.
Yeah, great. So Figure of Destiny is still like a solid playable in many cubes, and this card's better.
Better. Yeah, this is better for sure.
This card's insane. I gave it an A plus. You gave it an A.
Yep. I might be wrong about that. Could just be an A plus. Abigail Eloquent First Year. Cool card here. This is Orzhov Hybrid for a legendary creature at rare. It's a 1/1. Has flying, first strike, and lifelink. When Abigail enters, up to 1 other target creature loses all abilities, and you put a flying, first strike, and lifelink counter on that creature.
Yep, I've lost this one already.
Yeah?
This card's very annoying.
Yeah. So I mean, like, what, 9 times out of 10, you're targeting your own things, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's some, I could imagine a
the only
situation.
time you wouldn't is if there's some ability that's like so oppressive that it's just still worth bumping their creature up for all the other things.
Yeah, like they might even like one of the Lord creatures, right? Like the uncommon Lords. I could see you in some game states like taking away that Lord ability, letting them like a 2/2 flying lifelink.
There's also some of the rares are like small utility creatures, and so like those maybe you might want to target with this as well.
Yep, for sure.
Card's great though. A minus from me, B plus from you.
Next up, we've got Emptiness, the Orzhov Elemental. 4 Orzhov for a 3/5. When it enters, if white was spent, you return a creature mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, and if black was spent, you put 3 -1/-1 counters on up to 1 target creature, and evoke for Orzhov.
By the time there's a creature worth targeting for the white ability, you're probably going to be close to 6 mana anyways. So the evoke on the white side's not particularly real. but
Right, yeah.
I still think you're fine-ish playing this in mono white. Like it's okay, unexciting. It's good in the black deck, and the black Convoke is good. And then obviously, if you're white black, it's going to be again excellent.
Yep.
A from me, A minus from you.
Next up is Ashling's Command. 3 blue-red for a Kindred instant this time. All the others are sorceries, I think. Elemental at rare. Choose 2. Create a token that's a copy of target elemental you control. Target player draws 2 cards. And Ashling's Command deals 2 damage. Sorry, 2 more modes here. Ashling's Command deals 2 damage to each creature target player controls. Target player creates 2 treasure tokens. This one's pretty nice, too.
This one's crazy. It's also notable. So the Merfolk and Kithkin one both copy that creature type and only cost 3 mana, and you'll roughly get your mana's worth on that creature. The Goblin one costs 5, and like copying a Goblin for 5s, you're usually getting not a great deal there.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some like 4, 5, 6, 7 mana elementals, so you could potentially just the copying on this could be getting your mana's worth already.
Right, yeah. And also kind of nice, like, with all the other ones being sorceries, they have a little bit of a tense moment sometimes if you're casting them, like, into open mana, casting the copy targets, whatever. You're never going to get a full blowout because, well, not never, but they've templated these cards in a way where a lot of the other modes say target. So even if they kill the creature from under you, the rest of the spell will still resolve. Not in all cases, but yeah, if there's at least one target left, the spell will continue to resolve as much as it can. But my point being is that, yeah, it's much nicer to be like, okay, end of your turn, you've tapped out, I copy my thing, wrath your board, probably win the game from there.
You don't even need any elementals in your deck for this card to be, because the second and third abilities, if that's all you ever cast it for, it's still going to be great.
Still great. Absolutely. Yeah, that would be a busted card on its own.
Yeah, so we might even be too low on this. We both gave it an A. I could see this being an A+.
Yeah, same here. And just like splashable too. Yeah, great card. Sonar Innovative First Year is 2 Is It Hybrid for a legendary goblin at rare. 2/4 has a vivid ability. At the beginning of your first main phase, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal X non-land cards, where X is the number of colors amongst permanents you control. For each of those colors, you may exile a card of that color from among the revealed cards, then shuffle. You may cast the exiled cards this turn.
If you untap that
If, yeah.
But the juice is worth the squeeze. It's understated, no ETB, no protection. I still think this card's totally fine just because of the upside. It's got types, but like weirdly not the type that you'd expect. Like It's not an elemental, it's a goblin for some reason. C from me, C minus from you.
Next up is High Perfect Morcant. This is the card I was mentioning earlier, where you blight your opponent's creatures. So this is 2 green-black for a legendary elf at rare. It's a 4/4. When High Perfect Morcant or another elf you control enters, each opponent blights 1. Tap 3 untapped elves you control, proliferate, activate only as a sorcery. And proliferate, of course, means choose any number of permanents and or players with counters on them. You give those things another counter.
Yeah, sorcery speed does cap it a little bit, but if you just casting the Morcant is going to be good but not broken. But once you cast your next elf and they have to put a second counter on things, it gets really awkward for them.
Right, and like tapping your stuff at sorcery speed is the pain of that is diminished if you're like, okay, I'm making your board smaller as well as I'm doing that.
But you could potentially be killing a bunch of things.
Yeah, you just keep.
And that's not a once per turn either. If you have 6 elves, you can proliferate twice.
Just do it. Yeah, card suite. I played this on the splash. Kind of just wanted to see how it would feel on the splash. I didn't assume it was going to be great, and it was still okay. Like I didn't have a ton of elves. I had like a small elf package, and even just that first blight felt pretty solid sometimes. Although, like I mentioned, sometimes they had the creatures that care about counters where I was like, okay, awkward. But yeah, good card.
Yep. A minus from you, B plus from me.
Lorwyn Imperfect Naturist is Golgari Hybrid for a 1/3 legendary elf at rare. When it enters, you mill 4 cards, then you may put a creature or land card from among the milled cards on top of your library, unfortunately. And has a cool ability, 2 and 3 Golgari hybrid, tap, discard a land, create a 1/1 black and green worm creature token for each land card in your graveyard.
Okay, you said unfortunately. I am very happy that this does not go to your hand.
Oh
This
yeah, I
card
mean
is so
Busto.
good.
Yeah, it's already very good. Yeah.
Just like even without the second ability there, this card would still be strong. Like impulse, you don't draw the card, but whatever. Impulse to the top of your deck on a 2 mana 1/3 smooths your draws, gets you potentially gas, gets you your land, and then notably that second ability, the land you discard will add to the worm count.
Yes, that does. Yes, exactly.
So if you have one land in your graveyard, then the first time you use this ability, you're making 2 worms at instant speed. The next time you're making 3. The next time you're making 4. I had an opponent cast this against me today. It took me a long time to draw a removal spell for it. By the end of it, they were making 6 worms at a time. It was a crazy game. Like it lasted a very long time, very interesting. But I think this card is really strong.
Yeah, it's a must kill 2-drop if the game goes long.
I like my grade more than yours in this one. I gave it an A minus. You gave it a B plus.
Yeah, I mean pretty close, but yeah, you might be right. Tristan's command is the elf command, 4 black green for a kindred sorcery elf at rare. Choose 2. Either make a copy of an elf, return 1 or 2 target permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand, destroy target creature or enchantment, or creatures target player controls get +3/+3 until end of turn, and untap them.
Yeah, untap's nice if you are, because there are a few creatures that provide mana, so it's making sure that your mana dorks still get to get in as well. I expect the most likely will be like the third ability, and then the second or fourth, and then the first. But there's really nice flexibility here, and all 4 modes are going to be strong at some portions of the game.
Yep.
Yep, not much more to say. A minus from me, B plus from you.
Bree of Clan Stout Arm is 2 red white for a legendary giant at rare. 4/4. 1 and a white tap. Another target creature you control gains flying and lifelink until end of turn. And at the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this turn, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. You can cast that card without paying its mana cost if the spell's mana value is less than or equal to the amount of life you gain this turn. Otherwise, put it into your hand. We got the same kind of dilemma here. No ETB, no protection, but man, if you went tap with this thing.
Totally agree. We're 2 grades off, but both kind of in the same range. It's a C from me, a B minus from you. Are you interested in splashing for this card?
I don't think so. Like, I'm already kind of like, well, iffy about it for the reasons we're iffy about it. I think splashing it adds like 1 additional layer of awkwardness. Although, then again, like, I would have splashed this card in my elemental deck yesterday. So probably, now that I think about it, at least to try. I mean, maybe early in the format, I would be willing to entertain it for sure.
Yeah, even in like maybe in a Merfolk deck, like just having a well-statted body that can maybe win the game if you drag it on long enough.
Yeah, I could see it.
Possibly.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
Anyways, yes.
Yeah.
C from me, B minus from you.
Catharsis is 4 hybrid Boros for an elemental at Mythic. 3/4. When it enters, if white was spent to cast it, you make 2 1/1 Kithkins, and if red was spent to cast it, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain haste until end of turn. Evoke Boros. So we both had this one actually, I think, yesterday.
Yes, this was my first pick of the format, where pick 1, pack 1 of my first early access draft. This was staring at me, and I drafted red white, and it was great. This one's kind of weird in that you really want, like, the abilities get exponentially better when you combine them. So it's not strong if you're only in white or only in red, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree with that. Actually, it's kind of funny. I had this card in my elemental deck yesterday, And somebody was like, "Is this card like I couldn't cast the white very easily?" I'm like, they're like, "Is this card good in your deck?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, this card's great in my deck." I cast it and realized this isn't the one that deals 3. That's the green red one. I was like, okay, I rescind my statement. So yeah, great card if you can cast both sides though. Fantastic.
Yeah, I did grade this one high, but that's more hoping that people are not going to try and play this as much in one color of the decks. Like I think you really need to be red white for this.
Yes, yes.
So I gave it an A. You gave it a B plus.
Kirol, Attentive First Year, is 1 Boros Hybrid for a 3/3 legendary creature at rare. It's got the ability tap 2 untapped creatures you control, copy target triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. Activate this only once per turn. So what are we copying with this?
There's, I mean, a bunch of the vivid things. Like you
Yep,
can play a vivid thing, have that trigger go on the stack, and tap this plus the creature you've just cast.
for sure. Pretty good with any card that makes a token, just backward compatible, right? You like get a card that says enter, make a token, copy that, or if you already have those tokens in play, that gives you fodder to tap to this thing.
Yeah, this card seems fine to me. I think it's probably going to get a bit of rare tax that
Yeah,
might drop its win rate a little bit, but still totally fine. I think I like your grade more on this one. You gave it a C. I gave it a C minus.
yeah, it kind of just seems like a card you'll play, and like once in a while in your deck, you'll be like, oh yeah, I can copy something if I want.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm too low on this.
We've got Tam Mindful First Year up next. 1 in a Simic Hybrid for a 2/2 legendary at rare. Each creature you control has hexproof from each of its colors, and you can tap. Target creature you control becomes all colors until end of turn. It's a nice one.
Doesn't protect itself.
No.
So I mean, you can make it all colors, but the protection only applies to other creatures. So kind of like a lightning rod. But then you may not even need to tap this to protect them, right? Like if you're playing black green and your opponent's got a bunch of black removal spells, like they can't point those black removal spells at your other creatures because they already have hexproof from it.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously, you know, the joke here is Vivid, extremely good with Vivid stuff.
Yeah.
Seems like a grade 2.
Oh, card's good. You gave it an A minus. I gave it a B plus.
I do want to quickly revisit Kirol just quickly because somebody in chat points out that Liminal Hold or Liminal Grasp, Liminal Level Ups, that card, the removal spell at common, is a good thing to copy with this, right? Because that enters, you get a trigger, you actually get to exile 2 things.
It is, but then you need to be tapped. Like the nice thing about the creatures that do it is you're giving yourself the fodder for it. So you do need like 2 creatures that both tap and the liminal hold, and then you're not attacking with those creatures. So it is good. It is nice, but even the ideal scenario, it's still like you're not pushing any damage that turn, maybe. So
Yeah,
there's still a bit of asterisk there too as well.
for sure, for sure. Wistfulness is 3 Simic Hybrid for a 6/5 elemental mythic. When it enters, if green was spent, you exile target artifact or enchantment opponent controls. When if blue is spent, you draw 2 cards and then discard a card. Evoke Simic.
This one's just randomly massive.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a 6/5.
Like the other ones, there's a 5 mana 4/4. There's a 6 mana 3/5.
3/5,
there's
yeah.
a 6 mana 3/4. Like they're mostly pretty small. This one's just like, nope, I am humongous.
Yep, gigantic axolotl. And this one I think is pretty clearly you wouldn't play it if you're just green, right? I think it's not pretty clearly.
No?
It's a consideration.
Really?
Yeah. No, I take it back. I kind of forgot how many random enchantments and artifacts are on the in the set for a second.
Even if it hits nothing, like it has types as a
Yeah.
5 mana 6/5 is not the worst.
Yeah. You're right. But I much better in the blue decks, right? Much better in like a blue-red deck than a green black
Yes.
deck or something.
Yeah, and again, if you get both and you manage to hit something, just your opponent may as well just pack them up.
Yep.
So A from me, A minus from you.
Next, we've got Doran Besieged by Time. This is 1 white, black, green for a legendary tree folk at rare. It's an 0/5. Each creature spell you cast with toughness greater than its power costs 1 less to cast. And whenever a creature you control attacks or blocks, it gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the difference between its power and its toughness. So I've called this out a few other places, but might as well call it out here for posterity's sake. That second ability does not actually care which way the difference goes, right? You kind of parse this as like, oh, I need to have big butts. If you've got a 3/1, it's going to get +2/+2.
Also, if you've been putting, it could be potential to be, I guess it's not likely to be negative, but it does count negative. So if you have like a 1/3 with a couple negative counters on it, the minus will still add the extra power for you.
And yeah, just to spell this out, another thing to spell out, this is functionally a 5/10 in combat, right? It still gets gotten by like a deal 5 burn spell, but it's a 5/10 in combat.
Yep.
Yeah, so this card I think is worth considering splashing, right? Like it's not like mega busted, but I think if you're a black-green deck, you would consider splashing this card.
I had that exact option where I had the sources, I had the base, I could have splashed it, and I still decided not to. Like there was something else in the pack that was like an elf, and I just, it seemed like it would be better for me.
Yeah, sure.
So I don't think it's going to come up very often, and my grade reflects that as well. You've got this at a C, I've got it at a D+.
Yeah, I think I like my grade a little bit more, and like it does have immediate impact, right? It's not like it's no enter the battlefield, like it affects combat that turn. But yeah, cool card.
Well, sometimes.
Sometimes,
If all your
that's
creatures
true.
are even power toughness.
That's fair. Yeah, good point. Marlin Fey Ascendant is 2 black, green, blue for a legendary elf fairy, so I'm kind of dual typed here. It's a rare. She's a 4/5 flyer. When Marlin or another elf or fairy you control enters, exile the top 2 cards of target opponent's library. Once per turn, you can cast a spell with mana value less than or equal to the number of elves and fairies you control from among the exiled cards with Marlin this turn without paying its mana cost. Yeah, I had this card. It was real sweet. First time I cast it, it didn't hit anything I could cast, but the next turn, could cast a Changeling, got a card for free. Sometimes you will hit on that first go.
I had the exact same experience. Yeah, card's excellent. We both gave it an A.
Nice. Great. Artifacts now. Homestretch. Chronicle of Victory is a 6-mana legendary artifact at Mythic. When it enters, you choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +2/+2 and have first strike and trample. And whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, you draw a card. So Mega Anthem, that gives you some card advantage if the game happens to go longer than the turn you cast this or after.
Yeah, I did have this cast against me, and they were like, they only had one creature, and then I removed the creature and I won.
Nice.
So, a little hesitant on this. Like, it's kind of the whole thing I've been talking about, well, these things that require you to already have a big board can be a little bit risky. This one, I'm almost sure the juice will still be worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
We've both given it a B.
Yep. Really sweet. And also, it's good the first turn you cast it. I mean, obviously you can attack, but even if you don't have a great attack, like pumping the team and giving them first strike means attacks from the opponents are very difficult. Just gang block with a bunch of first strikers.
Well, so if all your creatures share a type.
Yeah, of course. That's I'm assuming that.
Because there's other spots where, let's say you're playing green-black elves, but the only creature you still have on the board is your like 4/4 Ward 2 Vigilance Giant. There's going to be spots where it's a little bit awkward with this too.
Yeah, no. I do want to respect that as well. You're right. Mirrormind Crown is a 4-mana equipment at rare. Equip cost is 2. As long as this equipment is attached to a creature, the first time you would create one or more tokens each turn, you may instead create that many tokens that are copies of the equipped creature. Super clunky, 4 mana, do nothing. You gotta equip it, it's gotta stick, you then have to make a token. That's an F, right?
Double F, yep.
Okay, lands. We've got the 5 remaining shock lands that weren't in standard. So they've got the land types, which I don't know if that matters for anything. Do the land types matter in this set?
I don't think so.
Okay, so in any case, shock lands, for those who don't know, they enter tapped unless you pay 2 life. They tap for one of two colors, and they map onto the main creature type deck. So we've got the black-red one, we've got Hallowed Fountain, the blue-white one, Tomb, the black-green one, and Steam Vents, the blue-red one, Temple Garden, green-white one. Solid lands.
Annoyingly, like the half art though only matches up on the blue-white one.
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, so like in the blue-white one, the text box, like the text box
Oh.
is two colors, right?
Oh, I
And the
see.
art is
Yeah, yeah,
two colors.
yeah. I didn't even notice that.
Only the blue-white one actually matches the text box with the art. All the others, it's like flipped.
I think they might have that seems like an art direction mishap. They should I feel like that could have been prevented maybe. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one to be much of a stickler for the art, but sometimes it's just like, come on, like it's so
Yeah,
easy.
yeah, yeah. I mean, especially the Steam Vents one. They literally just like they could have mirrored it or something. Anyways, C pluses for these.
C pluses for all of them. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're solid picks. Just take if there's nothing amazing for you in the pack, you're happy to pick these up.
yeah. And there are some special guests in the set. We're not going to talk about them today because they're very rare. So that's gonna be it. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this nonstop list of really good rares, and it's gonna be interesting because we said at the beginning that not only did we say there's a lot of good rares, and we faced a lot of good rares yesterday, but the last set, Avatar, also had a lot of good rares. And I don't, it didn't affect my opinion, at least personally, of the set. Like, I felt like the tools were there to combat that. Like, there were still good, solid shells of decks at common and uncommon. We'll have to see. I'm not trying to say that that'll be the case necessarily. I'm just trying to say don't be too scared before you play.
I both agree with you about Avatar that it was like an acceptable level of rares and power level because it's also like we talked about this and not to drag this on too much,
Yeah.
but there's a difference between having a bunch of A plus rares. So I would say something like Tarkir Dragonstorm, where
Yeah.
they just immediately end the game. Having A minus rares, which is like the level I really like, where the cards are just a little bit good to incentivize you to draft different things,
Mm-hmm.
or like A level rares, which is where they're really strong, they're oppressive, but they're still beatable in some spots. Avatar had a bunch of A's, which were annoying but beatable. My concern is that I think Lorwyn may have even more of them. So
Yeah, that's fair.
to be determined. Like you and I are both playing in the upcoming limited spotlight series in Toronto. So
Hell
anyone
yeah.
who's coming out to that, please come say hi. We have a vested interest in practicing this format for at least a few weeks to try and get good for that. And by the end of it, it'll be curious to see where we've ended up in terms of opinions for the format. Hopefully, it'll be a banger with us having to play, multiple days of this in person and paper.
Yeah, absolutely. And I called this out other places, but we are going to have a limited level ups meetup, so stay tuned for more info on that. I'm also going to be doing some content in preparation for getting ready for a big event, so that's also cool. And if you made it this far, if you're watching on Twitch or if you're watching on YouTube listening along, do check out the Patreon. Link to that is in the description of the YouTube video. Really helps out the channel. That's the number one thing that keeps us going here. And yeah, Marc, thank you so much as always for hanging out. Twitch chat, thank you so much. Yeah, it's gonna be a very big event. 1,800 seats for that Lorwyn Spotlight series. So that's gonna be
It's sold out.
It's
well.
sold out
full,
too. Yeah, gonna be sweet. Gonna be sweet. Marc, any last words?
I will just again, anytime you ask me for last words, I will again say thanks for having me. I always have a blast with these, and until next time.
Yeah, see you, everybody.